Weapons all over the
Yo,
place.
yes, we're live for the Super Bowl. This is the Super Bowl of presidential debates. This has got like UFC, Mike Tyson, that kind of excitement, that kind of hype. What's up, everybody? All right, let's talk. Yo, what up?
I don't have to waste a lot of time. You're off base, right?
I've got the pregame on right here. Donald Trump, but they keep bouncing back and forth. Kamala Harris to Trump, Kamala Harris to Trump, and I just want to gag every time I see Kamala Harris. She's so fake. DJT stock, before we get into this, everybody wants to know when to sell DJT stock. So, we're at 1935 right now. Donald J. Trump. This is Truth Social stock. So, for the election, guys, you guys know, buy the hype, sell the news. Buy the hype, sell the news. It's going to be no different for this election. You guys saw today how DJT stock kept climbing and climbing and climbing, right? You got that nice bounce, just like the last debate we had. We had that beautiful bounce. It was Trump versus Biden. DJT stock was climbing. First 15 minutes of that debate, I sold DJT stock because we were up something like $4, if I recall, $4 or $5. Right now we're at 1938. That doesn't mean we're going to get a huge bounce, but let's say we get to 21, 22. I might sell. I don't have to cut my live off to sell this time. That's why I've got this phone ready to rock and roll. I'm ready to sell when I need to sell. But for the election, it's going to be no different. Even if Trump loses, which I highly doubt he's going to. But let's say, worst case scenario, Trump were to lose the election. You've got that 3-day, it's on a Tuesday, first of all. The election is on a Tuesday night. You've got 24-hour trading with DJT stock, okay? A lot of us that have Robinhood can trade this 24/7. So unless Robinhood pulls the sell, you should already own DJT stock going into that Tuesday. They can shut it down, and now you don't have 24-hour trading. Robinhood could do that. If they do, who gives a shit? Sell it the next freaking day. But there's going to be this whole buildup going into, Monday, that Friday, Thursday. People are just going to be pouring in to DJT stock, buying the hype, assuming he's going to win. You're not going to know if he won. You're not going to know if he lost until about 10, 11 o'clock Tuesday night. That gives you all that time to sell, guys. If you're scared, if you're afraid to hold, you sell going into the election, going into the finale, okay? You got balls of steel, you hold for the outcome. If you don't have balls of steel, you sell. If the outcome is Trump won, you guys already know, DJT stock's going to go through the freaking roof if he wins, okay? If he doesn't win, it's going to like $5, $4 if you're lucky. It's going to tank. This is it. Everything is riding on Donald Trump winning that freaking election, okay? Look at that. As I just started my live, we're at 1953, okay? She's slowly just moving up, gearing up towards this debate. I can't stand this woman. I can't imagine 4 years of this. You know what I'm saying? At least for the past 3.5 years, she was MIA. Nobody knew where she was. No appearances. She's making no speeches. She didn't have his back on anything. Every now and then you'd see her in Congress, the final vote. You know what I'm saying? It was great. I was like, I don't give a shit. I don't care where she is. I don't want to see her. Now all of a sudden she's somebody. Ain't that crazy, guys? How you can just get shuttled into a president, the world leader. You get shuttled into world leader by identity politics because that's how you became VP. She knows it. Identity politics. We need a black female. We got to pretend we have a black female. And then the old man, they're like, he's probably going to die in the next 2 years. Joe Biden, nah. Let's go ahead and pull him out even though he got 15 million votes. That's dictatorship for you. That's how dictators work, guys. This is who 15 million people, the primary, this is who we have. This was the legal and the correct way to do it. But let's forget about all that. We're dictators. We're going to force in a candidate. Even though you guys don't like her, she already ran on her own. She got her ass beat in, what was 2020, right? She got her ass freaking handed to her. I'm going to swear to God if Trump doesn't win this. All right, what's up, everybody? Yo, what up, Custom X? Little Country, how you doing, bro? Okay, let me try to pull my live up here. Okay, hey, am I sideways, y'all? What's up, Little Country? Let me see if that fixes that. Bam. That's crazy. There we go. Fixed. Man, I was trying not to have to squeeze into this little frame, but now I guess I'm going to have to. This has got like UFC hype. This is like, I don't know, like I used to get this excited for like Mike Tyson every time Tyson would, like back in 1986, 87, if any of you were around. I mean, it was just like everybody was just so freaking gung-ho and fired up over a Mike Tyson fight. That's how I feel right now. I feel like we're about to do like with Mike Tyson. TKO, baby. So I'm watching this on ABC, by the way. I don't know how you guys are actually watching this tonight. So we're luckily this is streaming on ABC and on YouTube. So I just decided to stream it downstairs. I'm in my man cave. And there's only one way, you know, Donald Trump, even though they've got these microphones cut off, which I totally was like, why would you do that? Why would Trump even encourage that? Because his shots on Hillary Clinton were when the microphone was actually on and he wasn't up to speak, like the "you'd be in jail." Remember that one? That line that turned him into like this legend? Yeah, because you'd be in jail. Had the microphones been cut off, he never would have dropped that line. So I don't know. I'm kind of like, dude, it should be a free-for-all. This should be a free-for-all. Leave the microphones on and just let them go, blow for blow. I would like to see that. But I do, at the end of the night, this better be a Trump knockout. He's got to lay her out flat. I don't care what he's got to do. You know what he's got to do? He's just got to bring up 3.5 years. Where have you been? Oh, so all of a sudden you're flip-flopping on fracking. You're flip-flopping on border security. Where have you been the past 3.5 years? Why haven't you already got it done? If you wanted to flip-flop, why didn't you do it 3.5 years ago? He better throw this shit in her face. Because I can't deal with this. I can't deal with this for 4 years. There's no freaking way. She's so fake. How many accents does this girl even have? You watch one of her, which there's no guarantees I'm going to watch this whole thing, y'all. Okay? Just be aware, like every time I sit down and I get really excited about shit like this, I get so grossed out over this one, or like with Joe Biden, I get so grossed out over Biden, I got to shut it off. I can't even go the distance. What up, Luck? Holy shit, we got Luck in the house. It's been a while, bro. Man, I wish you were still in the Discord, Luck, because you used to make me laugh, you bastard. You should hit me up on Facebook so I can get you a link into the Discord. Let's go. All my money is on Trump tonight. All my money is going to be on Trump. What do we need? We need Pennsylvania. How do we win the election? We already know it's going to be like 3 states, right? What are the 3 states? We'll say Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. How many delegates are we going to end up with? I'll say 291. I'll say 287 to 291. Those are the delegates that we have to win this. And I think we're going to get them. So right now, Trump, because this is kind of, you know, the honeymoon phase, and it's Kamala Harris, and it's a female, and oh my God, it's not Joe Biden. That bullshit's over. That bullshit's over. And now it's finally like, oh my God, it's Kamala Harris. Like, what the fuck's going on? She didn't even stand a chance in 2020 when she ran. She did one debate. She dropped after the first debate. We got Chainsaw Daily. Let me say hi to everybody, because it's been a while, man, since we all hung out live. This is great. Let me start from the top. I don't know how to say Corey's last name, but what up, Corey? I just actually went over that, but my camera was sideways. I had no clue. I was like, you know, so I was just talking about DJT stock and selling the hype. If you got balls, hold through the election, hold through midnight. And they start announcing the winner and they start announcing those states. If you're holding DJT stock, that's when it nukes because it's 24-hour trading. If you got balls of steel and you want to hold through the announcement. If you don't have balls of steel, you sell the hype. Okay? You're going to sell Tuesday afternoon. See what I'm saying? Before any of this shit starts, you sell Tuesday afternoon. I got my man Custom X in the house. It's one of my good friends. What up, brother? Little Country, Hellfire. See, this is cool because back when we were trading all these IPOs and shit, I would get like 500 to 1,000 people to watch my lives. And I was getting really close to a lot of people. And it sucked because we got rug pulled on our IPOs. And all the momentum was just completely smashed. And so I lost track of a lot of these people. Steven Stokes, I remember you, man. Of course, Speed Racer. Chainsaw was in the Discord for a while. Chainsaw come up missing. What up, Chainsaw? And I miss it. I miss that disc. I miss the IPOs that we were pushing in the Discord, getting the hype, getting all the people on board, and then making all that money. That really just took a lot of wind out of the sail, man, the way they smashed us on that. Over Metal, OV Metal, what up? Bismarck, I remember Bismarck. What's up, Bismarck? And that's how we were, that's how we were getting the momentum on these IPOs, is the amount of people that we had playing them. I would love to be able to get that back. It is so difficult now to convince people because so many people lost so much freaking money on stupid plays, on plays coming out of COVID, for one. I even lost a lot of money on a couple bank plays, which I was stupid for putting the amount of money on these fucked up banks that were going under. I should have never done it. But hey, man, I made a lot, I lost a lot. And that's how the market works. Yup. You make it, you lose it. Luckily, I didn't lose it all, but I lost quite a bit. I lost quite a bit on FRC Bank. FRC Bank was my biggest loss probably yet. Because I wasn't able to recoup hardly any of that shit. We got Real Aqua in the house. We got Body Neck. What's up, brother? Corey's back. Kamala's going to get steamrolled tonight. You know, this is something that's been in my head. How they've been telling Trump to dial it back. You guys already know. They're like, they don't want it to seem like Trump is steamrolling Kamala Harris. They're like, show her some respect. Don't just come out and pulverize her. I don't know if I like that advice. It's like, we already know what he's capable of doing. Why don't you just let him do it? I don't think his voters are going anywhere. And I think if you put any restraints on him, it's like me. If you tell me I can't be myself and I have to pretend to be somebody else, then I'm completely fucked up. If you say, Teddy, you can't do this, you can't do this, and you can't do this. Like today, if I'm going live, you can't do this. Then it's like, well, shit. You know what I'm saying? Wheels are turning in my head what I can and what I cannot say. So there's going to be some shit that I probably could have said, and I just didn't say it because I've got, you know, people pulling the fucking restraints on me. I wish they wouldn't have done that. I really wish Trump would have been fighting to have open mics and you do and say whatever the hell you want to say. But we'll see how it goes down. He's got to just come out. He's got to come out smashing Kamala Harris like a freight train. He's got to hold her to the record. He's got to hold her. And so you guys know this whole fracking to where she's like, okay, yeah, all of a sudden I'm for fracking. Did you guys see how many permits, how many oil permits the Trump administration approved? Almost 5,000 oil drilling permits. Look it up. Google it, guys, and give me the exact number. Something like 4,500 oil permits. That came out of the Trump administration in 4 years. You know how many have come out of the Biden administration now in 3.5 going on 4 years? I think it's not even 700. They've not even approved 700 drilling permits for new oil. Why do you think your gas prices are and have been? Now you notice we're moving into an election. What's happening? Gas prices are starting to come down a little bit, ain't it? You see how they pull that bullshit? So they all of a sudden they can run on low gas price or low oil. I'm ready though for a Donald Trump, but I wish Donald Trump would have chose a better VP. Some of you guys are smashing me on that, but I don't give a shit. I'm standing firm on not liking JD Vance. I just don't like him. Don't like him. You know, this whole debate prep with Donald Trump. What's up, DJ Underground? How you been? I see you're still out there trading, bro. I see you posting a couple good trades here and there. That is awesome, man. Congrats, brother. What's up, Jeremy? Jeremy says, I'd love to hear your take on the Mike O'Hearn. Here's what I like about Mike O'Hearn. And for those of you that don't know, Mike O'Hearn's a bodybuilder. He was around in the 80s and the 90s. Phenomenal physique. He's in his 50s now. He's still got an absolutely amazing physique. He has taken gear throughout the years. Was never a mass monster. Always a phenomenal physique. But he was also genetically gifted. Now he's in his 50s claiming that he doesn't take gear. But it's obvious he does. But here's the thing. Here's the fucking thing that I've learned because I'm in my 50s. And I've been bodybuilding my entire life as well. You can't take a lot of gear in your 50s. So even if he's taking a mild amount, like a little bit of test, a little bit of Anavar, you can't do a lot of shit. You can't do anywhere near the amount of gear. So I got to give this guy all the credit in the world to still have that physique. I don't give a shit what you're on. If you are on a lot of gear and you've got organs of steel that somehow aren't being affected by all that fucking gear and that's how you look, well, God bless you. You're Superman. You deserve props. Because the average guy doesn't have the kidney function, the liver function, the heart function. They don't have it in their 50s. Guys, I'd be running huge amounts of gear right now if my organs would sustain it. And they won't. So I already know he's not running a lot of shit. He's just ripped, which is kind of like my mentality now. I can't be a mass monster, but I can be shredded. So I have total respect for Mike O'Hearn. He's 53. I think he's 1 year older than me. I'm 52. He's 53. So I do follow him. I do look up to him. He's been around since I can remember, since the days of fucking Muscle Mag 2000. You guys remember that magazine? He used to be in Muscle Mag 2000. And he's still here. He's still doing it. And he looks amazing. So contrary to what a lot of people say, they don't look at it the way I look at it. I don't give a shit what you're doing at 53 years old because you can't do a lot. You can't. And you guys saw that one fella died today. That freaking beast. I posted it on Facebook. Ilian. Let me see if there's an update on how he died. Here's how I think he passed away, by the way. I know a lot of you guys aren't into this. You guys probably don't even give a shit what I'm talking about right now. But Ilya Gollum kind of fell into the rich piana mentality of injecting silicone. And he was a 5%er. Rich Piana dies. Rich Piana dies because of an opium overdose, basically. He OD'd, he passed out, smashed his head on the back of a sink. It was the smashing the head that put him into a coma. That's what killed him. But the opium is what knocked him out. Had the opium not knocked him out, well, he was on his feet. He would never have smashed his head onto the sink, which wouldn't have caused the brain injury. He would have probably passed out, but he would have come to. He wouldn't be dead. Ilium Gollum, this beast, was injecting silicone the same way Rich Piana was injecting silicone. So what you do is you take a massive 15, 20 milliliter syringe and you fill it with silicone that you get from fucking Home Depot. It's retarded, y'all. It's the same shit. Or you just have some, this is what these Brazilian butt lifts are. It's just a silicone injection. And you put the needle directly up into the muscle up underneath the delt, and you inject the silicone under the deltoid, and it pushes the deltoid out. So it's just like fake boobs, silicone, saline. You're putting it underneath the muscle, it's pushing the muscle out. Bodybuilders are doing this now. Well, the problem is the silicone is just sitting there, and whenever the body is ready to move the silicone around and try to break it down and push it into the blood, it's going to do it whenever it's ready to do it. And all of a sudden, you're toxic as hell. And that's what happened to Gollum. I'm assuming that's what happened to Gollum. Finally, all that silicone started to break down and started to move into the blood, and the kidneys and the liver most likely failed because of all that silicone he had up. And that's what's going on today. Guys are injecting silicone. It's no longer HGH, steroids. It's freaking silicone, y'all. PMMA. Brazilian butt lift crap. The stuff that was killing women 30 years ago. Bodybuilders are doing it now. Like, okay, it killed people 30 years ago. Why are you trying that today? It's going to kill you the same way it killed all these women. All these women had these bags they were busting up underneath their pecs, and all these women were dying because they were doing silicone. Now it's saline. It's a little safer. Women are doing saline implants because it can't kill you, but a bodybuilder cannot inject saline underneath muscle tissue because it just gets absorbed into the blood. It doesn't do anything. It has no effect. So he was only 36 years old, Ilya Gollum. Unbelievable, man. Sad state that bodybuilding's in right now. Oh, we got Rich Flav. What up, brother? How you doing, man? Let me get back on my live. Okay. Meg was Meg was the big one. Meg was a really big IPO. The biggest IPO we ever had. That's kind of like what brought all the attention onto us. And then the unraveling came after that. Especially when the underwriter came under investigation. You know, that fucked everything up. Little Country's back. What up, homeboy? AMC. What's up, Pittsburgh? What up, brother? The problem with Kamala Harris, however you say her name, Kamala Harris, is you don't know who you're going to get tonight. Who are we getting tonight? Are we going to get the woman with the southern accent? Are we going to get the girl with the ghetto accent? She's even trying to be Obama. She'll come out talking like Obama. So what the fuck? You know, who are you? You're so fake. But did you guys see today they copied and pasted Joe Biden's policies? She ain't even got her own policies. She's got to copy and paste from Joe Biden's website to her website in exact. That's all they did was they took a policy off of Biden's page and they moved it over to her page. She can't even think on her own. She can't even come up with her own policies. This is how fake she is. She doesn't care to cheat. She doesn't care to cheat the American people out of their money because, hey, we're the ones that lose if you suck. So if you lie your way into the White House, we lose. You don't fucking lose. We lose. She don't give a shit, though, because it's prestigious. They want one-party dominance. That's why they're shuttling all these people in from all these freaking countries. They don't give a shit about your safety, your security. They don't care about legal, illegal. They just want everybody in this country, like the 10 million that snuck in illegally. They want to flip them over into legal voters. They want them to vote. They don't give a shit how they get their vote. They don't care if it's wrong. They don't care if it's illegal, which is federally, it's illegal. But the problem is, in a lot of states, you don't have to show an ID. So it's like this, guys. Okay, so the federal law is you have to be a legal citizen to vote, right? That's the federal law. Unfortunately, it's not a law that when you show up to fill out your form, you don't have to show any ID. You just mark a box. Yeah, I'm legal. I'm an American citizen, sure. Well, when I go buy this shit right here, see that right there? Grey Goose. This is not my drink of choice, though. We had a party. We had this big bash not too long ago, and a lot of people were bringing booze, and this is what's left over. So for every ass she puts in her mouth, I'm going to do a shot. I'm going to have some fun tonight. But when you go buy this, guys, do you just X a box that says, yeah, I'm 21. That's all I got. I'm really 14, but I'm going to X the box that I'm 21. I don't have to show any ID to get that, right? Wrong. You got to show ID to get that. You don't X a fucking box. So why should voting be any different, right? And that's the problem. So what's happening right now is you guys see Congress is trying to push that through. If you want the cash, you want the House to give you some money, right? What are you going to do? You're going to have to, we're going to slide that in. I love, now they better hold strong. And I don't give a shit if they shut the government down or not. You guys need to think about that for a second, because if they shut the government down right now, who's the dark cloud over everybody if they shut the government down? It's over this one right here. That one right there. Yeah. They need to fucking start thinking of shit like that, because they would do it to us. You guys already know they would do it to us. Pisses me off because it's so hypocritical, and what they do is they shove it in our face all the freaking time. But these are the hypocrites right here. And they don't care that you're losing money, I'm losing money. We've all, and there's no rescue plan. The next 4 years, guys, if she makes it, you're just going to lose even more money, and you know it. Nobody's going to convince me that she's any different than Joe Biden, okay? So voting for 4 more years of that is basically, you still got a younger version of Joe Biden. Even Bernie Sanders is looking at her like, whoa, back off a little bit. You know, you're a little too far left, which is creepy. Let me talk to some of you guys real quick. Cool. The real Ape Father. What's up, homie? Hey, how's Ape Father doing? Is he still around? Ape Father, man, I haven't heard his name in a long time. Oh my God, we got Amy in the house. What's up? What up? What up? Little Country says, sorry, had to take a call from my boy. All good, brother. You listen, Little Country, I got my cell phone too, so you can text me. This is my actual cell phone that I take phone calls and texts on. So you're good. Martin, what up, Martin? It has been a while, man. Great to see you back, bro. Bigley Down Under. What up, what up? So, Teddy, what's the deal with Don Sr. Truth posts with all the animals? So this is what I believe the animals are about, is you've got all these illegal immigrants coming over, slaughtering animals, slaughtering ducks, going into parks. I think they're from Venezuela, and they're cutting the heads off of ducks. And they're literally, I heard some of them are actually eating the ducks in parks. I don't know if that's true or not, but they are killing animals. They're ruthless. These people are freaking ruthless, okay? That's what I saw. I don't know how much of this is true, what it is, but it's a part of the whole get this dangerous, that, you know, there's these wolf pack people out of our country. So if they're doing this to these animals, they're just think of what they're doing to people when they get a hold of them, you know? Okay, now I could be wrong on that. I don't know. I did see something to where some people from Venezuela caught some ducks in a park and cut their freaking heads off. And I love animals. I don't hurt no damn animal. You know what I'm saying? Like, that pisses me off. Like, I'm more for animals, like save animals before I save a human. It's weird how I think like that. A lot of you guys probably think like that too. Oh, poor puppy, poor dog. Oh, fuck you, dude. Poor puppy, poor dog. You know what I'm saying? The other day I had some guys from the gym with me. We were leaving the gym going to get a piece of equipment, gym equipment. And we got the trailer on the back of my SUV, and a squirrel runs out in front of my SUV. And I hit the fucking brakes, and I turn, and I'm like honking the horn. I'm like, oh, come on, squirrel, you can do it, buddy, you can do it. And it's quiet in the SUV, and then all of a sudden we hear thudump, thudump. And I'm like, yeah, he made it. And my buddy in the passenger seat goes, nah, bro, that thudump, you ran that motherfucker over. And it ruined the day. My whole day was shot when I learned that I killed that poor buddy, that little squirrel. But anyhow, that's like, I'm an animal lover, man. You guys would never think that about me and shit, but I do not like to hurt animals. So when I hear some motherfuckers are coming from another country and they're just killing animals, yeah, get them the fuck out of here. Yeah, I heard they were eating them, homie. Oh, Haitians, however you say that, the Haitis. The Haitians? I don't know. They're the ones doing it. There's something like they have no, I don't know. They could care less about Americans. They could care less about our laws. They don't care anything about, the passion that we have to live in this country. Like, I don't know. It used to kind of be something. It was special to say you were an American citizen. It meant something, didn't it? Yeah, I'm an American citizen. Isn't that fucking precious? Not really, because motherfuckers from Haiti and Venezuela and they're all just flooded. And all of them now, they're all fucking American citizens. It's diluted. It's flooded. It doesn't mean shit anymore to say you're an American citizen. Doesn't mean shit. It's sad. Doesn't mean what it meant 70 years ago. That's for damn sure. MAGA, baby. Trump is the only way we're going to get it back. Donald freaking Trump. This guy right here. All right, guys. 15 minutes to go. I do have a little bit of Grey Goose vodka in the AMC mug. Remember? Remember old Cliffy, the AMC mug? Cheers to Donald Trump in the next 4 years. Damn, I made that strong. Shit. Let's do it again. Yeah. All right. I wish I had an IPO to trade. Fuck. That would be like the icing on the cake, wouldn't it? If we had us a good IPO. All right, let me say hi to everybody. I'm proud to be an American, but it sucks. It doesn't mean what it used to. It's like I'm from New York, too. That's another thing. So, you guys know I'm from New York, born and raised, man. It used to be prestigious to tell people. I used to love telling people down here in Alabama. I've been here for 24 years. People be like, dude, where are you from, man? You don't talk like you're from Alabama. Oh, I'm from New York. And motherfuckers be like, hell yeah, New York, man. I want to go to New York, I want to see the big city. Now I don't want to tell anybody I'm from New York. Now it's just pitiful. Now it's like they're going to think I'm a liberal shit fuck. If I'm like anywhere near New York, people are like, oh, he's a libtard. Don't talk to him. They won't even ask. They'll assume I'm a liberal if I tell them I'm from New York. So I don't even do that. Can't even say I'm from New York anymore. I don't know about the deportation, but we'll see what he can do. We'll see how that whole thing goes down. It picky choosy on deporting people. How do you do it? Right now, you got 10 million that you know of that are on paper. How do you get those 10 million out of here, guys? How do you do it? In a humane way, how do you get... I'm all for it. Get them the hell out of here. They snuck in through the back door. They didn't come in through the front. They slowed all the people down that were trying to get here legally. If you're trying to get into America legally right now, guys, it's going to take you 10 times longer because of all the illegal shit that's happening in this country. So they're ruining it for all the people that are trying to do it right. But I remember when it cost $15,000 to come to America legally. It was like 15 freaking grand to get all your identity or your green card, all that shit, the waiting period. Who knows what it is now? No clue what it costs now to become a citizen legally and how long it takes. I'd imagine it takes something like 10 freaking years. Upan says, same here. I'm ashamed to tell that I'm from California. And that's exactly what it is. I'm ashamed to tell people I'm from New York. And that sucks, man. And every now and then I still catch myself slipping. I'll be about to tell somebody I'm from New York and I hold it back. because I don't even want them to start thinking anything about me, you know, that I'm remotely liberal. And most people don't get it because a lot of New Yorkers aren't liberal. My entire family of like my 30 closest relatives, we're all conservative. We have one liberal in the family, and you know who it is? Maybe some of you guys remember this because I've told you before. We have one liberal in the family, and it's my dad. Yeah, my freaking dad is a liberal. And we go blow for blow every Sunday when we see each other. Every holiday, we blow the kitchen up. We'll blow the dining room up. We move the argument into the living room. It's crazy, y'all. I stand my ground with Trump, and he regurgitates everything he hears on CNN and MSNBC. It's like I'm having to fact check and correct him on all of that shit every Sunday. And I'm already ready for it because I already know the facts because I keep up with my politics and the truth and everything. So I'm already ready for his BS, you know? But yeah, my dad is the only liberal in the family. My mom's super conservative. My brother's the biggest Trump fan ever. My sister's Trump fan. My wife's a Trump fan. My kids are all Trump fans. Jennifer's parents are all Trump fans. It's insane. We're all conservative. It's fun. But here's what's crazy. Like, I'll throw the F word around. My dad starts flinging the F word. We get crazy, you know, passionate about our arguments. But it's, when we wrap it up, I fucking hug him and I tell him I love him, you know, and he does the same to me. It's like we never even fought. It's like the argument's over. Love you, Dad. Love you too, Teddy. You know? And that's the way it should be. If it wasn't like that, I wouldn't even talk politics with him. But we squash our beef and we love each other. So politics doesn't get in the way with that. Now, I have lost a lot of friends. I have lost a lot of, well, Facebook friends and online friends because of being a Trump supporter. I don't give a shit. Click unfriend you. I don't give a shit. Click unfriend you. Yeah, all these people, yeah, Trump's going to prison in 5 days. Can't wait. Screw you, Trump. Unfriend you. I don't even need to see that bullshit. You know? Okay, let me go. I just want to say hi to all you people because there's a lot of my trading friends from back in the day in here. We all used to trade together. It was so much fun, y'all. I miss that. So I just want to make sure I'm saying hi to everybody. Okay, Matt. What's up, Matt? Matt says every channel is basically bashing Trump. Are you for real? I mean, you're probably talking like all the politics channels, right? Yeah. Even this, they're playing more Kamala Harris, I noticed. And I think I'm on ABC, maybe? I don't even know. Than Trump. They're kind of making Trump look like, you know, the sham, even on this channel. The Widow's Diary. I probably say this all the time. Diary. Oh, hey, yeah, I remember you now. The Widow. That's right. Okay, what's up? Good to see you, by the way, Widow's Diary. Every time I see your name, I'm like, God, isn't that the craziest freaking YouTube name to have to say live? I say that every time. But now I'm like, okay, I got to acknowledge her because you told me your story, and it's a really deep story. Speed Racer, what up? Proud to be an American. We got AMC in the house. Anybody still in AMC? Is that still a thing? Pan, what up, Pan? Rich, Flav, Flav. I'm born and raised. Also ashamed to say I'm from Brooklyn. Oh, man, right? Some of the best food ever is in Brooklyn. Just keep it to ourselves, though. If we go, we're going to enjoy the food. You know, they can't destroy the food. There you go, brother. But he's in Florida now. You go, boy. One of the great states right there. I'm just about 3.5 hours from the Florida line. Real Aqua. That is hilarious. Oh, me neither, dude. That'd be disgusting. Should I say that? Aqua says, I wouldn't even let Kamala Harris sit on my face for $100,000. Get out the Lysol, baby. AMC says, John Shapiro, ABC, effing tool. Yes, sir. Canon Jita, you're a cool dude, Teddy. Start posting more often. I'm trying. I'm doing my best, bro. I got to figure out like where I really love my niche because I love politics so much. I love day trading a lot too. I love bodybuilding. I wish I could just do everything on one channel. I can't though because YouTube doesn't allow you to do that. It's such bullshit. Anyway, Nathan says, what's up, Nathan? How are you, man? I don't know if I recognize you, but welcome. Bismarck says, no, dude, I'm heavy into DJT stock right now. I'm really heavy. I'm heavy and I'm down about $10,000 on DJT stock because I put a boatload of money in before they cheated Biden out and threw Cam in. So I was like, oh, we got this. I'm about to freaking bank huge. Next thing you know, I'm buying. Kamala Harris gets shotgunned in. Ticker tanks. And I'm not selling for a loss. I'm not taking a loss. So I just go down with the ship because I know the ship's coming back up. It's gonna moon here going into the election. Whether he wins or loses, we're gonna moon going into the election. I could sell the hype all I want to and make a fortune. So I'm not selling. But right now I'm down $10,000, which ain't that bad because I've lost $25,000 in one day. Like a couple of years ago, I was down like 20, and I just sold and said, fuck it. I'm taking the $25,000 loss. And that was FRC Bank. Yup. So yeah, I am still trading. And I just traded 2 IPOs the other day. Well, I traded one. It was a Hong Kong IPO. Then we had a Singapore IPO the day before that did really, really good. Or it was the week before, I should say. And then we had a China IPO that didn't do so hot. It made about 60 cents per share. It was tradable, though. Christian Holyfield, how are you, brother? Welcome. Good to see you, my man. Guys, we're down to 6 minutes. 6 minutes before the Super Bowl debate. I'm going to turn the volume up on this. I know you guys are going to watch it, however you're going to watch it. I'm going to turn the volume up. Let me know if it gets too loud. I can turn it down. We got Rudolph. What up? Let's fucking go. I'm going to try to get those IPOs. I'm trying to get IPOs back, but you need a lot of people to do it. At one time, we had a shit ton of people moving the IPOs. After Meg, we were pushing every IPO that they'd allow us to push. And they caught on to us. And as soon as they caught on to us, they laid the smack down and they crushed us. But I hope I get it back soon. Did you guys see how that fella came out? I don't know. He's like the 12 keys. I think it's something like the 12 keys. What's his name? Lickman? And he says she's going to win based on the 12 keys because you got to have 6 for her to lose. Something like she got 5 of the keys. She didn't get 6. Had she gotten 6 keys, Trump would win. I think his name is Lickman. For the past 10 elections, he's predicted 9 of them. He's only lost 1, right? Well, I went through all those different keys, and one that he gave the Democrats that he didn't push red was hostile society or unrest, a society in unrest. He goes, no, we're not a society in unrest. I didn't understand that whatsoever. Yeah, you guys saw that? Okay, we just had an assassination attempt on our freaking president. Okay, the DNC, they're burning American flags out in the street. People are dying. You've got the Israeli war. You've got a half war with Russia that America's involved. How the hell is there not unrest? Are you kidding me? We've never been so divided in our lives. Ever. Like we're all losing friendships over this shit. Yeah, I think there's some civil unrest, dude. You should have clicked on that one for red, which would push her out, and that puts Trump in. But it doesn't matter because another one of these, I don't know, this dude he's predicted like the past 6 or 7 elections. He says Trump's going to win. So one says Harris, one says Trump. We'll see what's up. I'm saying Trump all the way. Trump all the way. I don't have a cell number on DJT anymore. I don't know when I'm going to pull the trigger, bro, because it's just been an emotional roller coaster, you know? And I honestly, let's see how the debate goes, and then we'll talk. Let's get past tonight. If he smashes her, if this is a Joe Biden knockout, then you know I'm going to hold all the way through. But I don't know how much of the cheat that they're going to try to pull on us. So we got to figure that out. They lie and they cheat their way into everything. So cheers. She makes me puke. Oh, she makes me sick to my stomach.
Precious, fleeting opportunity to move past the bitterness, cynicism, and divisive battles of the past, a chance to chart a new way forward.
Why didn't she do it 3 years ago?
Not
Where you been,
as
Kamala?
members
Where you
of
been?
any one party or faction, but as a
She's so full of shit. Is that too loud, y'all? Or is that good volume? I'm going to keep this puppy going for the debate.
And I'm thrilled to be here in Detroit with the
Have you seen Shelly's bingo card? No, what do you mean, bro?
People.
I've not seen it.
I've had no greater honor in life than to serve as your commander-in-chief. Everybody just came in and it was a mess. You wouldn't have had any of the problems. I'm in this fight to defeat the corrupt political class in Washington that's hurting you very badly, whether we know it
2
or
minutes,
not.
guys. Let's see what
I
happens.
claim
2
America's
minutes.
future is a free and
Here we
sovereign
go.
nation ruled by the American people.
I'll
When I'm
check
back
into
in
it,
the
bro.
White House, we will expel the warmongers, the
Okay, awesome.
profiteers, and take over our government, and we will restore world peace, and it will be again peace through strength.
I don't want to talk too much, but I am going to narrate some of this. If Donald Trump misses a couple blows, I'm going to narrate. If he lands a couple blows, yeah, we're going to root. We're going to scream and holler.
Millions of people into our country.
Let's go, baby.
We are not just going to make America great again, we're going to make American democracy great again. We're going to bring it back. My opponent, Kamala Harris, and Tim Walz are promising the exact opposite. They want endless war, open borders, voting rights, and free health care for illegal aliens.
1 minute to go.
Price controls, censorship, unlimited migration from terrorist hotspots.
Most important debate we've ever had in this country. Let's fucking go, Donald Trump, MAGA. Thank you, little country.
Communism and freedom. It's a very serious fight. Mentioned the 45 soldiers that just were so.
Senator Bernie Sanders. There is clearly not a lot of time left in this election. So
I'm bouncing between ABC and NBC. This is NBC.
It's top of the hour now, 9 o'clock on the East Coast here in New York and in Philadelphia, the room where it's about to happen. We're just seconds away now from tonight's first
Here we
and
go.
perhaps last presidential
Come on,
debate
baby.
between Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump.
This is exciting. This is exciting.
Met in person, and it's happening.
Let's see how much of this I can take, though.
Also, the first
I
debate
usually
since
cut these
President
off.
Biden left the race over the summer, and Harris became the Democratic nominee. A lot has happened in a very.
I heard Disney was hosting this too. Yeah, you can watch it on Disney, ABC, NBC, Fox.
Is broadcasting it, but we will simulcast it right here in its entirety. It's taking place at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia.
And like June's debate, there will be no audience tonight. The candidates' microphones will be muted while the other one is talking. Each candidate will get 2 minutes for answers. There will be closing statements, but no opening statements. So we expect them to probably mix it up rather early in this as they stake out their positions and we get a sense of where all this is going.
And the mics are muted when the other is talking. So let's take you to Philadelphia now. And the first presidential debate of 2024.
Here we go, guys.
Good evening, I'm David.
Come on.
Thank you for joining us for tonight's ABC News presidential debate. We want to welcome viewers watching on ABC and around the world tonight. Vice President Kamala Harris and President Donald Trump are just moments away from taking the stage in this unprecedented race for president.
And I'm Lindsay Davis. Tonight's meeting could be the most consequential event of their campaigns, with Election Day now less than 2 months away. For Vice President Kamala Harris, this is her first debate since President Biden withdrew from the race on July 21st. Of course, that decision followed his debate against President Donald Trump in June. Since then, this race has taken on an entirely new dynamic.
And that brings us to the rules of tonight's debate. 90 minutes with 2 commercial breaks. No topics or questions have been shared with the campaigns. The candidates will have 2 minutes to answer questions.
cheat
and
sheets.
This is the clock. That's what they'll be seeing. 2 minutes for rebuttals and 1 minute for follow-ups, clarifications, or responses. Their microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak. No pre-written notes allowed. There is no audience here tonight in this hall at the National Constitution Center. This is an intimate
No
setting
box
two
for Kamala
candidates
Harris to
who
stand
have never
on.
met.
President Trump won the coin toss.
She
and chose
asked to
deliver
stand
the
on a
final
box.
closing statement of the evening. Vice President Harris selected the podium to the right.
So let's now welcome the candidates to the stage. Vice President Kamala Harris and
Here we go.
President Donald Trump.
Here we go. Yeah! Come on, Trump!
Kamala Harris. Is that good debate? Thank you.
What'd she say? What'd she say?
Welcome to you both.
What?
It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you.
She's
both
already
here tonight.
gaffing.
Good
I got a
evening.
drink.
We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle-class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American
She's not answering
people.
the question.
And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build.
Are we
what I
better
call an
off or
opportunity
not?
economy.
Answer the
Here's the
question.
thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a
No,
tax
the
cut
problem
for
is
those
this right
families of
here is
$6,000,
$2
which
fucking
is
dollars,
the
and that's
largest
the small bottle.
child tax credit
Small
that we've
bottle.
given in a long time.
The big
So that
bottle
those
is
young
like $4
families
fucking
can
dollars
afford
here
to
in
buy a
Alabama.
crib,
That's the
buy a
problem.
car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We
She is
call her
nervous,
second
guys. Are you
mother. She's a
noticing
small
this?
business owner. We love our
You
small
hear the
businesses.
flutter in her, yeah?
My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to startup small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's
What a bitch,
economy.
because I opened a
My
new
opponent, on the other
business
hand,
again 2
his
years
plan
ago.
is to do what he has done before.
Where's my 50
Which is to
grand?
provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month.
She's saying that because of
Economists have
tariffs.
said that
She's
that
full of shit.
Trump sales tax would actually result for middle-class families in
She's
about
full of shit.
$4,000
He's already put
more
tariffs into
a
place.
year
No prices
because of
went
his
up.
policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle-class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of
go.
all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because
Prices
there's so much
never went
money
up.
They can't. They would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. That
Finish
left the
it.
tariffs on. When I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation.
There you go.
Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation which is really known as a country buster. It breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons.
Don't go there yet, Trump. Slow down. This is where he starts rambling. He shouldn't do this. Stay on topic.
Right now by
Stay on
African-Americans
topic.
and Hispanics. And also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon.
Dude, he could just smash her right there on the economy, and he's going to the border. Dude, economy.
Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that she and Biden.
This is what they should have coached him on right here, not to do this.
Destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality. And we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest economies in the history of our country.
Let's talk about that.
Do it again, and even better.
There you
We're not going
go.
to get to immigration and border security during this debate.
For real.
I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people. But I'm going to tell you all in this debate tonight, you're going to hear from the same old tired playbook. A bunch of lies, grievances.
He looks very calm, very cool and collected, though.
Is a detailed and
She's
dangerous
shaky.
plan called Project 2025
She's nervous.
that the former president
She's
and
swallowing
his
a lot.
if
She's
he were
dry
elected
swallowing. Are
today.
you noticing this, guys?
I believe very
Flutter in her
strongly
voice.
that the American people want a president who understands
Look
the
how badass
importance
he looks.
of bringing us together, knowing we have so much more in common than what separates us. And I pledge to you to be a president for all Americans.
President Trump will give you a minute here to
Let's
respond.
go, boy.
People and I have nothing to do, as you know, and as she knows better than anyone, I have nothing to do with Project 2025. That's out there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas, I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before.
Yes,
we had
sir.
the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic.
Yep.
And the pandemic was
Purposely
not
hit with a
since 1917
pandemic.
when 100 million people died.
That shit,
Has there been anything
you know
like
what
it?
they
We
did,
a
right?
phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them
Get him out
over
of,
a
office.
country where the economy and where the stock
Bullshit
market
virus.
was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back.
That's
and it
right.
bounced back and it went to their
Jobs
benefit.
coming back
But
after
I was
the
the one that
virus.
created them. They know it,
And she
so
knows
does
it.
everybody else.
That and what they beefed up the government. So government
Donald
jobs.
Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering
Broken
what
record
I
here, right?
describe as an
Broken
opportunity
record.
economy. And the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse. Mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and
You just
got
gotta look at what he's already done.
I'd invite you to know that
We were all
Donald Trump
better off.
actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
It's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look,
They sure
I went
did.
to the Wharton School of Finance.
Yup, that was all written out, and you know it.
The top professors think my plan
Trump's
is a
winning
brilliant
so
plan.
far,
It's a
guys.
great
Trump's
plan.
winning.
It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. Just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan.
Yes, she did. Copy and pasted today.
4 sentences.
Today.
Like run, spot, run. 4 sentences that are just, oh, we'll try and lower taxes. She doesn't have a plan. Take a look at her plan. She doesn't have a plan.
Mr. President, I do want to drill down on something you both brought up. The Vice
Mr.
President brought up
President.
your tariffs. You responded, and let's drill down on this because your plan is what she calls is essentially a national sales tax. Your proposal calls for tariffs, as you pointed out here, on foreign imports across the board. You recently said that you might double your plan, imposing tariffs up to 20% on goods coming into this country. As you know, many economists say that with tariffs at that level, costs are then passed on to the consumer. Vice President Harris has argued it'll mean higher prices on gas, food, clothing, medication, arguing it costs the typical family nearly $4,000 a year. Do you believe Americans can afford higher prices?
This is where he can hit her back hard right now.
And who's going to have higher prices is China and all of the countries that have been ripping us off for years. I was the only president ever. China was paying us hundreds of billions of dollars, and so were other countries. And, you know, if she doesn't like them, they should have gone out and they should have immediately cut the tariffs. But those tariffs are there 3.5 years now under their administration. We are going to take in billions of dollars, hundreds of billions.
He's not hitting her hard enough.
I had no inflation.
He could have smashed her
virtually no
hard
inflation.
right
They had
there.
the highest inflation perhaps in the history of our country, because I've never seen a
Taking
worse period of time.
$4,000
People
from
can't go
each
out and buy
American
cereal or
citizen?
bacon or eggs or anything else.
Yeah.
The people of our country are absolutely dying with what they've done. They've destroyed the economy. And all you have to do is look at a poll. The polls say 80 and 85 and even 90% that the Trump economy was great, that their economy was terrible.
We've already lost all our money under her.
For your response, and you heard what the
What's
president said there,
oh,
because the
$4,000
Biden
under a
administration
fake
did keep a number of the
tariff
Trump tariffs in
proposal?
place. So how do you respond?
Well, let's be clear that the Trump administration
He should have hit her harder.
resulted in a trade deficit, one of the highest we've ever seen in the history of America. He invited trade wars. You want to talk about his deal with China? What he ended up doing is, under Donald Trump's presidency, he ended up selling American chips to China to help them improve and modernize their military, basically sold us out, when a policy about China should be in making sure the United States of America wins the competition for the 21st century, which means focusing on the details of what that requires, focusing on relationships with our allies, focusing on investing in American-based technology so that we win the race on AI, on quantum computing, focusing on what we need to do to support America's workforce so that we don't end up having on the short end of the stick in terms of workers' rights. But what Donald Trump did, let's talk about this, with COVID, is he actually thanked President Xi for what he did during COVID. Look at his tweet. Thank you, President Xi, exclamation point, when we know that Xi was responsible for lacking and not giving us transparency about the origins of COVID.
President Trump, I'll let you respond.
First of all, they bought their chips from
Taiwan.
We hardly make chips anymore.
Exact. She didn't even know.
Philosophies like
Fool.
they have and policies like
You dunce.
they have. I don't say her,
She's
but
like,
she
"Hey,
has
hey,
some
whatever."
policy. Everything that she believed 3 years ago,
Knock her
and
out,
4 years
boy.
ago, is out the window.
Knock her
She's
out.
going to my philosophy now. In fact, I was going to send her a MAGA hat.
Yeah, baby.
But if she ever got elected, she'd change it. And it will.
She has no policy. None.
She's a Marxist.
She's a
Everybody knows
chameleon.
She's a Marxist. Her father's a
fake.
Marxist professor in economics, and he taught her well. But when you look at what she's done to our country, and when you look at these millions and millions of people that are pouring into our country monthly, where it's, I believe, 21 million people, not the 15 that people say, and I think it's a lot higher than the 21. That's bigger than New York State pouring in. And just look at what they're doing to our country. They're criminals. Many of these people coming in are criminals. And that's bad for our economy, too. You know, you mentioned before, we'll talk about immigration later. Well, bad immigration is the worst thing that can happen to our economy. They have
Stay on point. Stay on point.
Our country with
Yes,
policy
yes.
that's insane. Almost policy that you
Details.
say they have to hate our country.
President Trump, thank you. Lindsay?
I want to turn to the issue
That was a
of
soft
abortion.
blow. He could have hit her
President
harder.
Trump often touted that you were able to kill Roe v.
No
Wade.
knockout
Last
punch
year,
yet.
You said that you were proud to be the most pro-life president in American history. Then last month, you said that your administration would be great for women and their reproductive rights.
Here we go,
In your home state of
abortion.
Florida, you surprised many with regard to your
This
6-week
election
abortion
isn't
ban,
coming
because
down to
initially it said
abortion, though.
that it was
This
too
is a
short. And you said,
joke.
quote, I'm going to be voting that we need
It's
more than
war,
6 weeks.
economy,
But then,
border
during this
security.
time, you
That's what this
released
election
course
hinges
and
on.
to support
War,
the 6-week ban.
border,
Vice President Harris
economy,
says that women shouldn't
not
trust you on the
abortion.
issue of abortion because
What a
you've changed
joke.
your position so many times. Therefore, why should they trust
Yeah,
you?
here we
The reason I
go.
made that vote is because the plan is, as you know, the vote is, they have abortion in the 9th month. They even have, and you can look at the governor of West Virginia, the previous governor of West Virginia, not the current governor, is doing an excellent job, but the governor before, he said the baby will be born and we will decide what to do with the baby. In other words, we'll execute the baby. And that's why I did that, because that predominates, because they're radical. The Democrats are radical in that. And her vice presidential pick, which I think was a horrible pick, by the way, for our country, because he is really out of it. But her vice presidential pick says abortion in the 9th month is absolutely fine. He also says
Microphone's off, girl.
execution
What
after
up?
birth. It's execution, no longer abortion, because the baby is born, is okay. And that's not okay with me, hence the vote. But what I did is something for 52 years. They've been trying to get Roe v. Wade into the states. And through the
I think abortion is
genius
boring.
and
Who remembers
heart and
Chunk?
strength
You guys remember
of
Chunk?
6 Supreme Court
My baby Chunk?
justices, we were able to
Say
do
hi,
that.
Chunk.
Now, I
It's
believe in the
YouTube.
exceptions for
Say hi,
rape,
Chunk.
incest, and life of the
YouTube.
mother. I believe strongly in it. Ronald Reagan did also. 85% of Republicans do. Exceptions, very important. But we were able to get it, and now states are voting on it. And for the first time, you're going to see, look, this is an issue that's torn our country
She
apart
does, doesn't she?
for 52
Cruella?
years. Every legal scholar, every Democrat, every Republican, liberal, conservative, they all wanted this issue to be brought back to the states where the people could vote. And that's what happened. And now, Ohio, the vote was somewhat liberal. Kansas, the vote was somewhat liberal, much more liberal than people would have thought. But each individual state is voting. It's the vote of the people now. It's not tied up in the federal government. I did a great service in doing it. It took courage to do it. And the Supreme Court had great courage in doing it. And I give tremendous credit to those 6 justices.
There is no state in this country where it is legal to kill a baby after it's born. Madam Vice President, I want to get your response to President Trump.
Well, as I said, you're going to hear a bunch of lies, and that's not actually a surprising fact. Let's understand how we got here. Donald Trump hand-selected 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And they did exactly as he intended. And now in over 20 states, there are Trump abortion bans, which make it criminal for a doctor or nurse to provide health care. In one state, it provides prison for life. Trump abortion bans that make no exception even for rape and incest, which understand what that means. A survivor of a crime, a violation to their body, does not have the right to make a decision about what happens to their body next. That is immoral.
So fact check on that.
One does not
Rape
have
and
to
incest
abandon their
are
faith
in Trump's
or deeply held beliefs
abortion
to agree.
plan.
The government.
So she
and
just
Donald
lied.
Trump
He needs to
certainly
fact
should
check
not
her on
be telling
that.
a woman what to do with her body. I have talked with women around our country. You want to talk
The
about
situation in the
people
Discord
wanted?
goes, she is
Pregnant
winning.
women who
Bro,
want to
you're
carry
way
a
off. She's not
pregnancy to
winning.
term, suffering
She's
from a
chasing.
miscarriage, being denied
You got to be able to tell when
in
somebody's
emergency room
chasing, and
because the
she's
healthcare
chasing right
providers
now.
are afraid they might go to jail, and she's bleeding out in a car in the parking lot. She didn't want that.
He
Her
needs to
husband
get her.
didn't
He
want
needs
that.
to rebuttal this
A
hard.
12 or 13-year-old survivor of incest being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. They don't want that. And I pledge to you, When Congress passes a bill to put back in place the protections of Roe v. Wade, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. But understand, if Donald Trump were to be reelected, he will sign a national abortion ban. Understand, in his Project 2025, there would be a national abortion, a monitor that would be monitoring your pregnancies, your miscarriages.
Desperate.
I think the American people believe
She knows she's lying right now,
in particular, the
and that's
freedom
the
to make decisions
problem.
about one's own body.
Why would you want somebody like
should not
that
be made by the government.
running this country? She knows she just lied. She brought up Project 2025 again. There you
I'm
go.
not signing a ban, and there's no reason to sign a ban, because we've gotten what everybody wanted. Democrats, Republicans, and everybody else, and every legal scholar wanted it to be brought back into the states, and the states are voting. And it may take a little time, but for 52 years, this issue has torn our country apart, and they've wanted it back in the states. And I did something that nobody thought was possible. The states are now voting. What she says is an absolute lie. And as far as the abortion ban, no, I'm not in favor of abortion ban, but it doesn't matter, because this issue has now been taken over by the states.
Would you veto a national abortion ban if you
Absolutely.
Have to, because again, two things.
Just
Number
say
one,
yes,
she said
you
she'll
would.
go back
Just
to
say
Congress, she'll
yes.
never get the vote. It's impossible for her to get
Come
the
on
vote,
already.
especially now with the 50-50, essentially 50-50 in both Senate and the House. She's not going to get the vote. She can't get the vote. She won't even come close to it. So it's
Nobody
just
cares.
You know
Yes,
what it
you'll
reminded
veto.
me of when they said they're going to get student loans terminated, and it ended up being a total catastrophe.
What up, Margie?
The student
Margie in the
loans,
house.
and
What's
then
up?
I think probably her boss, if you call him a boss, he spends all his time on the beach. But look, her boss went out and said, we'll do it again. We'll do it a different way. And he went out, got rejected again by the Supreme Court. So all these students got taunted with this whole thing about this whole idea.
This is the problem with
And
Trump.
how
He's talking
unfair
about
that would have been.
student
Part of the
loans
reason
when he
they
should be
lost
smashing
to the millions and millions of people
the
that had to
abortion
pay off their student
allegations,
loans.
the rape,
They didn't
the
get it for free.
incest.
But they were saying it's the same way
The
that
veto.
they talked about that they talk about abortion.
But if I could just get a yes.
Come
or no,
on,
because your
man.
running mate, J.D. Vance,
Dude,
has
smash
said
it,
that
bro.
you would
Come on.
veto it if you did come
Veto
to
it,
that.
yes.
I didn't discuss it with JD, in all fairness.
Veto.
JD, and I don't mind if he has a certain view, but I think you're speaking for me, but I really didn't. Look, we don't have to discuss it, because she'd never be able to get it, just like she couldn't get student loans. They couldn't get student loans. They didn't even come
Stop,
close to getting
Trump.
student loans. They
Fuck.
talked to young people and a lot of other people that had loans. They can never get this approved. So it doesn't matter what she says about going to Congress. So wonderful, let's go to Congress, do it. But the fact is that for years, they wanted to get it out of Congress and out of the federal government. And we did something that everybody said couldn't be done. And now you have a vote of the people on abortion.
Vice President Harris, I want to give you your time to respond, but I do want to ask, would you support any restrictions on a woman's right to an abortion?
I absolutely support reinstating the protections of Roe v. Wade, and as you rightly mentioned,
Not that it matters, because abortion's not that big of an issue for this election. He could have knocked her out on that, and he didn't. This is what I mean by Trump. He just goes off on a tangent that has nothing to do with knocking her out when he has the opportunity to.
Couples who pray and dream of having
He lost
a
that
family
one.
are being denied IVF treatments. What is happening in our country?
Margie says he's just warming up. Yeah, he is.
Are working one
We
or
need
two
that knockout
jobs,
punch.
who can barely afford childcare.
Look at her with
as
the
have to travel
Barack
to another
Obama
state
thumb and the Clinton
to
thumb.
get on a plane, sit next to strangers, to go and get the health care she needs.
She's so fake.
Barely
so
can afford
fake.
to do it, and what you are putting her through is unconscionable. And the people of America have not, the majority of Americans
Bow up, Trump.
believe in
Bow up.
women's
Come
rights to
on,
make
chest
decisions
up. Get
about
ready to
their
knock her
body.
out.
And that is
Come on.
why in every state where this issue has been on the ballot, in
She's
red
so
and blue
gross.
states both,
Ugh.
the people of America have voted for freedom.
Vice President Harris,
Excuse me, I
thank
have
you.
to respond. Another lie. It's another lie. I have been a leader on IVF, which is fertilization. The IVF, I have been a leader. In fact, when they got a very negative decision on IVF from the Alabama courts, I saw the people of Alabama and the legislature 2 days later voted it in. I've been a leader on it. They know that, and everybody else knows it. I have been a leader on fertilization, IVF.
Let's go to the
And
next
other
topic already.
You should ask.
Come on.
Will she allow abortion in the 8th month, 9th month, 7th month?
Come on.
Okay, would you do that? Why don't you ask me that question?
Why don't you
That's
answer
the
the question?
problem.
Would you
Because
veto?
under Roe v.
Answer
Wade,
the question. Would you veto?
you could do abortions in the 7th month, the 8th month, the 9th
That's
month,
not true.
and probably after birth. Just look at the former governor of Virginia. The governor of Virginia said, we put the baby aside and then we determine what we want to do with the baby.
President Trump, thank you.
We're going to turn now to immigration and border security.
Let's go.
We know it's an issue that's important.
This
to
should be the
Republicans,
knockout right
Democrats,
here.
Voters across the board in this country.
This is
Vice
it.
President Harris, you were tasked by President Biden with getting to the root causes of migration from Central America. We know that illegal border crossings reached a record high in the Biden administration.
Yeah,
This
right?
past
Why
June,
was the mic
President
still
Biden
on? Good
imposed
point.
tough new asylum restrictions. We know the numbers since then have dropped significantly. But my question to you tonight is, why did the administration wait until 6 months before the election to act? And would you have done anything differently from President Biden on this?
So I'm the only person on this stage
Oh,
who
here
has
we go.
prosecuted transnational
Oh,
criminal
jeez.
organizations for the trafficking of guns,
What a joke.
drugs, and human beings. And let me say that the United States Congress...
She put a lot of
is the
black
most
dudes in
conservative
jail
bill
for
in the United States
marijuana.
Senate.
Let's just get
Came
that
up
out of
with
the
a
way.
border security bill, which I support.
She was proud of that.
And that bill would have put 1,500 more border
And then when
agents
she
on
was
the border
asked
to
if she
help
smoked
those folks
marijuana,
who are
she
working
laughed
there
it off
right
like,
now,
well, yeah,
overtime,
doesn't
trying to
everybody?
do their
I smoked
job.
some.
It would
Yeah,
have
she put all these
allowed
dudes in
us to
prison
stem
for
the flow
marijuana.
of fentanyl coming into the United States. I know there are so many families watching tonight who have been personally affected by the surge of fentanyl in our country. That bill would have put more resources to allow us to prosecute transnational criminal organizations for trafficking in guns, drugs, and human
Right now,
beings.
he
You know
needs
what
to
happened
go after
to that bill?
her for
Donald
putting
Trump
all
got on the
these
phone,
black people in
called up
prison.
some folks
That's
in
what she
Congress
did.
and said, kill the bill. And you know why? Because he'd prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And understand, this comes at a time where the people of our country
This is his
actually need a
strongest
leader
suit right
who
here.
engages in
The border.
solutions, who actually addresses the problems at hand. But what we have in the former president is someone who would prefer to run on a problem instead of fixing a problem. And I'll tell you something. he's
Trump's
gonna talk
winning,
about
by the way. He's
immigration
still
a lot tonight,
winning.
even when it's not the subject
Not because
that
I'm
is
a
being
Trump
raised.
fan.
And I'm going to
He's
ask you to do
got her,
something
though.
really
She's
unusual.
chasing.
And I'm going to invite you to attend one of Donald Trump's rallies because it's a really interesting thing to watch. You will see during the course of his rallies, he talks about fictional characters like Hannibal Lecter. He will talk about windmills cause cancer. And what you will also notice is that people start leaving his rallies early out of exhaustion and boredom. And I will tell you, the one thing you will not hear him talk about is you. You will not hear him talk about your needs, your dreams, and your desires. And I'll tell you, I believe you deserve.
That's bullshit, because I watch all his rallies, and that's all he talks
about.
about, is helping
Vice
the
President
American
Harris,
people.
thank you. President
What the
Trump,
fuck
on
was
that
that?
point, I want to get your
Well, I
response.
would like to respond.
Let me just ask, though, why did you try to kill that bill, and successfully so? That would have put thousands of additional agents...
Block
in office
that
on the board.
answer.
Let me respond.
Talk about whatever you want. There you
She
go.
said people start leaving. People don't go to her rallies. There's no reason to go. And the people that do
They
go,
don't even
she's
show up.
pushing them in and paying them to be there, and then showing them in a different light. So she can't talk about that. People don't leave my rallies. We have the biggest rallies, the most incredible rallies in the history of politics. That's because people want to take their country back. Our country is being lost. We're a failing nation. And it happened 3.5 years ago. And what's going on here, you're going to end up in World War III, just to go into another subject. What they have done to our country by allowing these millions and millions of people to come into our country, and look at what's happening to the towns all over the United States. And a lot of towns don't want to talk. It's not going to be Aurora or Springfield. A lot of towns don't want to talk about it because they're so embarrassed by it. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating
The ducks.
They're eating
The ducks
of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame. As far as the rallies,
he's not knocking her out, though.
The reason
He's
they
not
go
knocking
is
her
they
out.
like
Nobody
what I
cares
say.
about the rally.
They wanna
Come
bring
on.
our country back. They want to make America great again.
The border,
Very simple
man.
phrase. Make America great again. She's destroying this country, and if she becomes president, this country doesn't have a chance of success. Not only success, we'll end up being Venezuela on steroids.
I just want to clarify here. You bring up Springfield, Ohio, and ABC.
There
News
could have
reached
been
out
the
to city
knockout
manager
blow. He
there.
didn't do
He
it.
told us there had been no credible reports of
Soft.
specific claims of pets being harmed, injured, or abused by individuals within the immigrant community.
Well,
All
I've
this-
seen people on
Let me
television.
just say here, this is the
People on
this is
television
the
say
clar-
my dog was taken and used for food. So maybe he said that, and maybe that's a good
Yeah.
thing to say for a city manager.
I'm not taking this from
But the
television.
people
I'm
on
taking it from
television
the city
saying their
manager.
dog was eaten by the people that went there.
Again, the Springfield city manager says there's no evidence of that. Vice
We'll
President
find
Harris,
out.
I'll let you respond to the rest of what you've heard.
Come on.
Extreme.
Okay, now Trump's losing
You
it a
know,
bit.
I
That
think
was
this is,
pointless.
I think one of the reasons why in this
This is
election,
giving her the
I
upper
actually
hand.
have the endorsement of 200 Republicans who have formerly worked with President Bush, Mitt Romney, and John McCain, including the endorsement of former Vice President Dick Cheney and Congress member Liz Cheney. And if you want to really know the inside track on who the former president is, if he didn't make it clear already, just ask people who have worked with him. His former chief of staff, a 4-star general, has said he has contempt for the Constitution of the United States. His former national security advisor has said he is dangerous and unfit. His former Secretary of Defense has said the nation, the Republic, would never survive another Trump term. And when we listen to
DJT
this
stock,
kind of
sell the
rhetoric,
news.
when
Just so you
the
guys know,
issues
sell
that
the
affect
news
the
as
American
usual.
people are not
Sell
being
the
addressed,
news, y'all.
I think the choice is clear. in this
Always
election.
happens.
President Trump, I'll give you a quick minute to respond
Yeah.
here.
Thank you, because when I hear that, see, I'm a different kind of a person. I fired most of those people, not so graciously. They did bad things or a bad job. I fired them. They never fired one person. They didn't fire anybody having to do with Afghanistan and the Taliban and the 13 people whose were just killed, viciously and violently killed. And I got to know the parents and the family. They didn't fire. They should have fired all those generals, all those top people, because that was one of the most incompetently handled situations anybody has ever seen. So when somebody does a bad job, I fire him. And you take a guy like Esper, he was no good, I fired him, so he writes a book. Another one writes a book, because with me they can write books, with nobody else can they. But they have done such a poor job, and they never fire anybody. Look at the economy, look at the inflation. They didn't fire any of their economists, they have the same people. That's a good way not to have books written about you. But just to finish, I got more votes than any Republican in history by far. In fact, I got more votes than any president, sitting president in history by far.
Let me continue on immigration. It was what you wanted to talk about earlier, so let's get back to your deportation proposal that the vice president has
Yeah,
reacted
Trump's
to as well.
strongest
President
talking
Trump,
point
you
is
call this the largest
immigration,
domestic deportation operation
and
in
he
the history of
let
the
her
country.
side
You use the
lateral that
National
shit
Guard. You say
out.
if things get out of control, you have no problem using.
Man, he
US
should have knocked
military.
that one out of the
You
park.
also said you would use local police. How would you deport 11 million undocumented immigrants? I
He
know
needs to
you
get
believe
out
that
of this
number
topic
is
right
much
now
higher.
and go back into
Take
border
us through this.
security.
What does this look
Get
like?
out
What
of that
authorities are going
topic,
door-to-door
go to
in this
border
country?
security. Dodge
It
it.
is much higher because of them. They allowed criminals.
There you go. There you go.
Millions of criminals. They allowed terrorists. They allowed common street criminals. They allowed people to come in, drug dealers, to come into our country. And they're now in the United States and told by their countries like Venezuela, don't ever come back or we're going to kill you. Do you know that crime in Venezuela and crime in countries all over the world is way down? You know why? Because they've taken their criminals off the street and they've given them to her to put into our country. And this will be one of the greatest mistakes in history for them to allow. And I think they probably did it because they think they're going to get votes, but it's not worth it because they're destroying the fabric of our country by what they've done. There's never been anything done like this at all. They've destroyed.
Go into more
fabric of our
detail,
country.
though. Detail.
Millions of people let in, and all over the world, crime is down all over the world except here. Crime here is up and through the roof, despite their fraudulent statements that they make.
Because they're flooding
Crime
the
in this
gates.
country is through the roof. And
With
we have a new
criminals
form
from
of
other
crime.
countries.
It's called migrant crime, and it's
you
happening
go.
at levels that nobody thought possible.
That's a good hit. That was a good hit.
Says overall violent crime is actually coming down in this country. But
Excuse me, the FBI they were defrauding statements. They
Yeah,
didn't
because they've
include
turned
overseas.
felonies now into
They didn't
misdemeanors.
include the
Used to be a
cities with
felony,
the
now
worst
it's just a
crime.
misdemeanor.
It was
Little
a
slap on the wrist.
fraud.
It's not a
Just
crime
like the
anymore.
number of 818,000 jobs
Yes.
that they said they created turned out to be
Smash
fraud.
it.
President Trump, thank you. I'll let you
Fraud,
respond.
baby.
Well, I think this is so rich.
That was true what he
Coming
just
from
said.
Someone who has been prosecuted for national security crimes.
Jennifer in the house,
economic
what's up?
crimes, election
What's up, Jen?
interference, has been found liable for sexual assault, and his next big court appearance is in November at his own criminal sentencing. And let's be clear, where each person stands on the issue of what is important about respect for the rule of law and respect for law enforcement. The former vice president called for defunding federal law enforcement, 45,000 agents, get this, on the day after he was arraigned on 34 felony counts. So let's talk about what is important in this race. It is important that we move forward, that we turn the page on this same old tired rhetoric and address the needs of the American people, address what we need to do about the housing shortage, which I have a plan for, address what we must do to support our small businesses, address bringing down the price of groceries. But frankly, the American people are exhausted.
He needs to
with
take
this
that
simple
one right
type
there.
of-
Vice President
You've had
Harris.
3.5 years to bring down the price of
Every one
trophy
of those cases
groceries. Where you
was
been?
started by them against their political opponent, and I'm winning most of them, and I will win the rest on appeal. And you saw that with the decision that came down just recently from the Supreme Court. I'm winning most of them, but those are cases. It's called weaponization. Never happened in this country. They weaponized the Justice Department. Every one of those cases was involved with the DOJ, from Atlanta and Farley
Right.
Willis to the Attorney General of New York and the DA in New York. Every one of those cases, and then they say, "Oh, he's a criminal." They're the ones that made them go after me. By the way, Joe Biden was found essentially guilty on the documents case. And what happened in my documents case? They said, "Oh, that's the toughest of them all." A complete and total victory. 2 months ago, it was thrown out. It's weaponization, and they used it, and it's never happened in this country. They used it to try and win an election. They're fake cases.
Right there, you should have brought up the assassination. That would have been epic.
Weaponization of the Justice Department.
Weaponization,
And
assassination.
understand the context in which this election in 2024 is taking place. The United States Supreme Court recently ruled that the former president would essentially be immune from any misconduct if he were to enter the White House again. Understand, this is someone who has openly said he would terminate, I'm quoting, terminate the Constitution of the United States, that he would weaponize the
He's
Department
never said
of
that.
Justice against
What?
his political enemies.
Yeah, that's what you
Someone
did to
who has
him.
openly expressed disdain for members of our military. Understand
No, he
what it
hasn't.
would mean if Donald Trump were back in the White House with no guard.
A lot of lies right
Because
there.
certainly we know now the court
Lot of
won't
lies.
stop him. We know J.D. Vance is not going to stop him. It's up to the American people.
Vice President
stop
Harris.
him.
Thank you. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last
Oh,
run for
hell
president-
no. He's got to be able to
This is
respond to
the one
that.
weaponized, not
Come
me.
on.
She weaponized. I probably took a bullet to the head.
There you
because
go.
of The things that they say about me.
That's
They
right.
talk about democracy. I'm a threat to democracy. They're the threat to democracy with a
President
fake Russia investigation
We do a lot to
that
get-
went nowhere.
We have a lot to get to. Lindsay?
Vice President Harris, in your last run for president, you said you wanted to ban fracking. Now you don't. You wanted mandatory government buyback programs for assault weapons. Now your campaign says you don't. You supported decriminalizing border crossings. Now you're taking a harder line. I know you say that your values have not changed. So then why have so many of your policy positions changed?
So my values have not changed, and I'm going to discuss every
She has
one
no
of the, at
values.
least every point that you've made. But in particular, let's talk about fracking because we're here in Pennsylvania. I made that very clear in 2020.
No, she
I
didn't.
will not ban fracking.
Joe
I have
Biden
not
wouldn't
banned
ban
fracking as
fracking.
Vice President of the United States, and in fact, I was the tie-breaking vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which opened new leases for fracking. My position is that we
5,000
have
for
got
Trump,
to invest
700.
in diverse
for Kamala
sources of energy, so we
Biden.
reduce our reliance on foreign
Leases,
oil.
guys.
We
5,000
have
leases
the
for Trump.
largest increase in domestic oil production in history because of an approach that recognizes
She's full of
that
shit.
we cannot
He needs to
over-rely
call
on
her
foreign
out.
oil.
He needs to put the
As it
numbers
relates to
out
my
right now on
values,
those
let me tell you,
leases.
I grew up a middle-class kid raised by a
Come on,
hardworking mother
man.
who worked and saved and was able to buy our first home when I was a teenager.
What a crock of shit.
The values I bring to the
Come
importance
on.
of home ownership, knowing not everybody got handed $400 million on a silver platter and then filed bankruptcy 6 times, is a value that I bring to my work, to say we are going to work with the private sector and home builders to increase 3 million homes, increase by 3 million homes by the end of my first term. My work that is related to having a friend when I was in high school who was sexually assaulted by her stepfather. And my focus then on protecting
Oh, here we
women and
go with a
children
bunch
from
of
violent
bullshit
crime is
sympathy
based on a
stories.
value that is deeply
My
grounded in the
mom, my
importance
friend in
of
high
standing
school.
up for those who are most vulnerable.
The
My
kitchen
work
table.
that is about protecting Social Security
kids.
and Medicare is based
Don't
on
forget the
long-standing work
kids.
that I have done. Protecting seniors
All
from
talking
have not
points.
changed. And what is important is that there is a president who actually brings values and a perspective that is about lifting people up and not beating people down and name calling. The true measure of the leader is the leader who actually understands the strength is not in beating people down, it's in lifting people up. I intend to be that president.
President Trump, your
Well, first of all, I wasn't given $400 million. I wish I was. My father was a Brooklyn builder, Brooklyn, Queens, and a great father, and I learned a lot from him, but I was given a fraction of that, a tiny fraction, and I built it into many, many billions of dollars, many, many billions. And when people see it, they are even surprised. So we don't have to talk about that. Fracking, she's been against it for 12 years. Defund the police, she's been against that forever. She gave all that stuff up very wrongly, very horribly, and everybody's laughing at it, okay? They're all laughing at it. She gave up at least 12 and probably 14 or 15 different policies. Like, she was big on defund the police. In Minnesota, she went out, wait a minute, I'm talking now, if you don't mind, please. Does that sound familiar? She went out in Minnesota and wanted to let criminals that killed people, that burned down Minneapolis, she went out and raised money to get them out of jail. She did things that nobody would ever think of. Now she wants to do transgender operations on illegal aliens that are in prison. This is a radical left liberal that would do this. She wants to confiscate your guns, and she will never allow fracking in Pennsylvania. If she won the election, fracking in Pennsylvania will end on day one. Just to finish one thing, so important in my opinion. So I got the
He
oil
lost
business
it a
going
little
like
bit on
nobody
that
has
one.
ever done
Lost
before.
it.
When they took over, they got rid of it, started getting rid of it, and the prices were going up the roof. They immediately let these guys go to where they were. I would have been 5 times, 4 times, 5 times higher, because you're talking about 3.5 years ago. They got it up to where I was because they had no choice, because the prices of energy were quadrupling and doubling. You saw what happened to gasoline. So they said, let's go back to Trump. But if she won the election, the day after that election, they'll go back to destroying our country, and oil will be dead, fossil fuel will be dead, we'll go back to windmills, and we'll go back to solar, where they need a whole desert to get some energy to come out of it. You ever see a solar plant? By the way, I'm a big fan of solar, but they take 400, 500
He's not killing it.
acres
He's
of
not
desert
killing it,
soil.
man. He's giving her every opportunity right now to jab him.
Lindsay, thank you. We have an election in just 50
Damn,
states.
man.
And I
He
wanna
keeps
talk
going
about
off
the peaceful
topic.
transfer of power, which of course we all know is a cornerstone. of
Nobody's
democracy
winning
and the
this
role of the
debate right
president,
now. Nobody's
in a moment
winning,
of
if you
crisis.
ask me.
Mr. President, on January 6th, you told your supporters to march to the Capitol. You said you would be right there with them. The country and the world saw what played out at the Capitol that day, the officers coming under attack. Aides in the West Wing say you watched it unfold on television off the Oval Office. You did send out tweets, but it was more than 2 hours before you sent out that video message telling your supporters to go home. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day?
You just said a thing that isn't covered. Peacefully and patriotically, I said during my speech, not later on.
There you go.
Peacefully and patriotically. And nobody on the other side was killed. Ashley Babbitt was shot by an out-of-control police officer that should have never, ever shot her. It's a disgrace. But we didn't do this group of people that have been treated so badly. I ask, what about all the people that are pouring into our country and killing people that she allowed to pour in? She was the border czar, remember that. She was the border czar. She doesn't want to be called the border czar because she's embarrassed by the border. In fact, she said at the beginning.
Yeah, if you're proud of the border, take credit for it, right?
That's because she knows what a bad job
they're all
done.
deflecting.
What about those people? When are they going to be prosecuted? When are these people from countries all over the world, not just South America? They're coming in from all over the world, David, all over the world, and crime rates are down all over the world because of it.
But let me just
when are those, David, when are those people going to be prosecuted? When are the people that burned down Minneapolis going to be prosecuted? Or in Seattle? They went into Seattle, they took over a big percentage of the city of Seattle. When are those people going to be prosecuted?
But let me just ask
Those are good points. I like that.
President, you were watching it unfold on television. It's a very simple question as we move forward toward another election. Is there anything you regret about what you did on that day? Yes, sir.
I had nothing to do with that other than they asked me to make a speech. I showed up for a speech. I said, I think it's going to be big. I went to Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington, D.C., and the mayor put it back in writing, as you know. I said, you know, this is going to be a very big rally or whatever you want to call it. And again, it wasn't done by me. It was done by others. I said, I'd like to give you 10,000 National Guard or soldiers. They rejected me. Nancy Pelosi rejected me. It was just 2 weeks ago. Her daughter has a tape of her saying
in the back seat of a car.
Fact. They want to get rid of that tape.
Fact.
It would have never happened if Nancy Pelosi and the mayor of Washington did.
If they would have beefed up security like he asked, it wouldn't have happened.
Nancy Pelosi was responsible. She didn't do her job.
The question was about you as president, not about former Speaker
He just
Pelosi.
answered the question. Yeah, I would have brought in more security.
I was at the Capitol on January 6th.
January 6th is such a joke.
Vice President-elect. I was also an acting senator.
What a fucking joke. Burn down the entire country. Show that as the example. Let the whole country burn. Oh, don't touch our soil, though. How dare you kick in our door?
To desecrate our nation's capital. On that day, 140 law enforcement officers were injured.
A lot of them were Democrats, by the way. You guys saw that, right?
The former president has been indicted and impeached for exactly that reason. But
a lot of planted Democrats in that crowd to agitate and to create the scenario.
There was a mob of people carrying tiki torches, spewing
total joke, bro.
hate.
She's a joke.
The president then at the
He's
time
giving her
said
soft blows. He's not
there were
knocking her
5
out.
people on each
Gotta
side.
knock her out.
Let's remember that when it came to the Proud Boys, a militia, the president said, the former president said, stand back and stand by. So for everyone watching who remembers what January 6th was, I say we don't have to go back.
Here comes the accent. Here we go.
Let's
Here comes the
not go back.
Obama.
We're not going back.
She's
It's
a
time to
country
turn
girl.
the page.
Here it comes.
And if that was a bridge too far for you, well, there is a place in our campaign for you to stand for country, to stand for our democracy, to stand for rule of law, and to end the chaos, and to end the approach that is about attacking the foundations of our democracy because you don't like the outcome. And be clear on that point. Donald Trump, the candidate, has said in this election there will be a bloodbath if this and the outcome of this election is not to his liking.
Wow.
Let's turn the page on this. Let's not go back.
Can you believe
Let's
this shit?
chart a course for the future.
I can't believe she just made that statement.
Let me just follow up here.
Unbelievable.
It was a different term, and it was a term.
Cars,
energy,
automobiles.
they destroyed our energy business. That was where bloodbath was. Also, on Charlottesville, that story has been, as you would say, debunked. Laura Ingraham, Sean Hannity, Jesse, all of these people, they covered it. If they go an extra sentence, they will see it was perfect. It was debunked in almost every newspaper, but they still bring it up, just like they bring 2025 up. They bring all of this stuff up. I ask you this, you talk about the Capitol. Why are we allowing these millions of people to come through on the southern border? How come she's not doing anything? And I'll tell you what I would do, and I would be
Why
very
does he
proud
keep
to do
wrapping it around to
I would
that,
say we
man?
would both leave this debate right now. I'd like to see her go down to Washington, D.C. during this debate, because we're wasting a lot of time. Go down to, because she's been so bad, it's so ridiculous. Go down to Washington, D.C. and let her sign a bill to close up the border, because they have the right to do it. They don't need bills. They have the right to do it. The President of the United States, you'll get him out of bed, you'll wake him up at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you'll say,
we need more of
come on
that.
down to the office, let's sign a bill.
That's knocking her out right there.
That the border is closed. All he has to do is say it to the Border Patrol, who are phenomenal. If they do that, the border is closed.
Mr.
Those
President,
people are killing many people, unlike J6.
We talked immigration here tonight. I do want to focus on this next issue to both of you, because it really brings us this into focus, truth in these times that we're living in. Mr. President, for 3.5 years after you lost the 2020 election, you repeatedly falsely claimed that you won, many times saying you won in a landslide. In the past couple of weeks leading up to this debate, you have said, quote, you lost by a whisker, that you, quote, didn't quite make it, that you came up a little bit short.
I said that?
Are you now acknowledging that you lost in 2020?
No, I don't acknowledge it at all.
But
I
you
said
did
that
say that.
sarcastically, you know that. And we said, oh, we lost by a whisker. That was said sarcastically. Look, there's so much proof. All you have to do is look at it. And they should have sent it back to the legislatures for approval. I got almost 75 million votes, the most votes any sitting president has ever gotten. I was told if I got 63, which was what I got in 2016.
The proof is in how horrible the country is doing right now. It's obvious the wrong people are in control.
We need walls.
The wrong people are in the White House.
We have to have it. We have to have borders.
Such bullshit.
And we have to have good elections. Our elections are bad. And a lot of these illegal immigrants coming in, they're trying to get them to vote. They can't even speak English. They don't even know what country they're in practically. And these people are trying to get them to vote.
They're fighting for a bill right now.
That's why they're allowing them to come into our country.
I did watch all of these pieces of video. I didn't detect the sarcasm, lost by a whisker, we didn't quite make it. And we should just point out here as clarification, and you know this, you and your allies, 60 cases in front of many judges, many of them
No judge
Republican,
looked at it.
and said
They said we didn't have standing. That's the other thing. They said we didn't have standing, a technicality. Can you imagine a system where a person in an election doesn't have standing? The President of the United States doesn't have standing. That's how we lost. If you look at the facts, and I'd love to have you do a special on it, I'll show you Georgia, and I'll show you Wisconsin, and I'll show you Pennsylvania, and I'll show you, we have so many facts and statistics, but you know what? That doesn't matter, because we have to solve the problem that we have right now. That's old news, and the problem that we have right now is we have a nation in decline, and they have put it into decline. We have a nation that is dying, David.
Mr. President, thank you. Vice President Harris, you heard the president there tonight. He said he didn't say that he lost by a whisker, so he still believes he did not lose the election that was won by President Biden and yourself. But I do want to ask you about something that's come up in the last couple of days. This was a post from President Trump about this upcoming election just weeks away. He said, when I win, those people who cheated, and then he lists donors, voters, election officials, he says will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, which will include long-term prison sentences. One of your campaign's top lawyers responded saying, we won't let Donald Trump intimidate us. We won't let him suppress the vote. Is that what you believe he's trying to do here?
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that. But we cannot afford to have a president of the United States who attempts, as he did in the past, to upend the will of the voters in a free and fair election. And I'm going to tell you that I have traveled the world as Vice President of the United States, and world leaders are laughing at Donald Trump.
Shit.
I have talked with military leaders, some of whom work with you, and they say you're a disgrace.
That's absolute
and
bullshit.
when you then talk
They're
in this
afraid
way,
of Donald Trump.
in a presidential
They
debate
damn sure
and
ain't going to be
deny
laughing
what over and over
when they
again
hear
are
he
court
won.
cases you have
They're afraid of
lost
him.
because you did in fact lose that election. It leads one to believe that perhaps we do not have in the candidate to my right the temperament or the ability to not be confused about fact. That's deeply troubling, and the American people deserve better.
I'll give you 1 minute to respond, Mr. President.
Let me just say about world leaders. Viktor Orban, one of the most respected men, they call him a strong man.
Let's go.
He's
Come on,
a tough
Trump.
person. Smart.
Come on,
Prime
man.
Minister of Hungary. They said, why is the whole world blowing up? 3 years ago it wasn't. Why is it blowing up? He said, because you need Trump back as president. They were afraid of him. China was afraid, and I don't like to use the word afraid, but I'm just quoting him. China was afraid of him. North Korea was afraid of him.
Kim Jong-un.
Look at what's going on with North Korea.
North
by the
Korea,
way.
baby.
He said Russia was afraid of him. I ended the Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and Biden put it back on day one, but he ended the XL pipeline. The XL pipeline in our country, he ended that, but he let the Russians build a pipeline going all over Europe and heading into Germany, the biggest pipeline in the world. Look, Viktor Orban said it. He said the most respected, most feared person is Donald Trump. We had no problems when Trump was president, but when this weak, pathetic man that you saw at a debate just a few months ago, that if he weren't in that debate, he'd be running instead of her. She got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her. But he got 14 million votes. They threw him out. She got 0 votes. And when she ran, she was the first one to leave because she failed. And now she's running. I don't understand it, but
Mr.
I'm
President,
okay with it
Mr.
because
President, your time is
I think
up.
we're
Thank
going to
you.
do very well.
We've got a lot more to get to.
Turning now
Yes.
to the Israel-Hamas war and the hostages.
All right, so nobody's winning this shit bag of back and forth.
In December, you said, quote,
Trump's
Israel
not
has a right to
delivering
defend
tonight,
itself,
man.
but you
He's
added,
close,
quote,
but
"It
then he
matters
doesn't
how,"
deliver.
saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis. Many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters. Because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to Iran and any threat that Iran and its proxies pose to Israel. But we must have a two-state solution where we can rebuild Gaza, where the Palestinians have security, self-determination, and the dignity they so rightly deserve.
President Trump, how would you negotiate with Netanyahu and also Hamas in order to get the hostages out and prevent the killing of more innocent civilians in Gaza?
Let's go,
If I
man.
were president, it would have never started. If I were president, Russia would have never, ever, I know Putin very well, he would have never, and there was no threat of it either, by the way, for 4 years, have gone into Ukraine and killed millions of people when you add it up, far worse than people understand what's going on over there. But when she mentions about Israel, all of a sudden, she hates Israel. She wouldn't even meet with Netanyahu when he went to Congress to make a very important speech. She refused to be there because she was at a sorority party of hers. She wanted to go to the sorority party. She hates Israel. If she's president, I believe that Israel will not exist within 2 years from now. And I've been pretty good at predictions, and I hope I'm wrong about that one. She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population because the whole place is going to get blown up. Arabs, Jewish people, Israel will be gone. It would have never happened. Iran was broke under Donald Trump. Now Iran has $300 billion because they took off all the sanctions that I had. Iran had no money for Hamas or Hezbollah or any of the 28 different spheres of terror. And they are spheres of terror, horrible terror. They had no money. It was a big story, and you know it. You covered it very well, actually. They had no money for terror. They were broke. Now they're a rich nation, and now what they're doing is they're spreading that money around.
Focus on Iran. That's
Look
good.
at what's
That's smart.
with the Houthis.
Go
and
into
Yemen.
detail.
Look at what's going on in the Middle East. This would have never happened. I will get that settled
Break Iran.
fast, and I'll get the war.
You deplete the
Ukraine
war.
And
That's
Russia
right.
ended. If I'm president,
Deplete
I'll get
Iran.
it done before even
Go
becoming
after him.
president.
Vice President Harris, he says
He didn't nail it down, though.
That's
Again, he didn't
absolutely
nail it
untrue.
down.
I have my entire career and life supported Israel and the Israeli people. He knows that. He's trying to, again, divide and distract from the reality, which is, it is very well known that Donald Trump is weak and wrong on national security and foreign policy.
Oh,
It
shit.
is
Bring
well
up
known
Afghanistan.
That he admires dictators.
Bring
wants
up
to be a dictator
Afghanistan.
on day one, according to himself.
Foreign
It
policy?
is well
Really?
known that he said of Putin that he can do whatever the hell he wants and go into Ukraine. It is well known that he said when Russia went into Ukraine, it was brilliant. It is well known he exchanged love letters with Kim Jong-un.
Because we had a
And it
weak
is
president. That's why he
absolutely
said it was
well-known
brilliant. Because
that
Biden
these
wouldn't do anything
dictators
about
and
it.
autocrats are rooting
He
for
was
you to be
insulting
president
them.
again because they're so clear. They can manipulate you
Unbelievable.
with flattery and favors. And that is why so many military leaders who you have worked with
Uh-oh, here we
have
go.
told me you are a disgrace. That is why we understand that we have to have a president who is not consistently weak and wrong on
Vice
national
President
security,
Harris.
including the importance of upholding and respecting in highest regard our military.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
They're the ones, and she's the one that caused it, that's weak on national security by allowing every nation last month for the year, 168 different countries sending people into our country. Their crime rates are way down. Putin endorsed her last week, said, I hope she wins, and I think he meant it, because what he's gotten away with is absolutely incredible. It wouldn't have happened with me. The leaders of other countries think that they're weak and incompetent, and they are. They're grossly incompetent. And I just ask one question. Why does Biden go in and kill the Keystone Pipeline and approve the single biggest deal that Russia's ever made, Nord Stream 2, the biggest pipeline anywhere in the world going to Germany and all over Europe? Because they're weak and they're ineffective. And Biden, by the way,
President
gets paid
Trump,
a lot of money.
Thank you. We have a lot of issues to get to.
We'll be right back with much more of this historic ABC News presidential debate from the National Constitution Center right here in Philadelphia. Back in a moment.
Presidential debate will continue.
Yeah, so my take is we don't have a knockout punch. We have two people chasing each other at this point. Donald Trump is way going off target. He can nail home an idea. He's not nailing home the idea. He's going off on these tangents. He's talking about himself too much. He's not pushing it back onto her and making her look like she's the one that's failed. He's failing at that. That should be his main mission. You've had 3.5 years to prove that you're not a failure. You haven't done it. In everything we're talking about right now, border security, Afghanistan, Russia, Israel, the economy, inflation, you name it. He could be nailing every one of those down, and he's not. I don't know what's going on. I mean, I don't understand why they didn't tell him to stay on these talking points, because he wins every single one of them. It's not until he goes off on his own, talk about me, and it becomes like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Why are we talking about, the economy when you were just talking about the border and now you're talking about fucking abortion? Like, what the fuck? I'm not going to say he's winning, because he's not typically, he's not the typical Trump. that isn't hitting with those knockout blows. He's not knocking her out. He's giving her the opportunity to come back and lie, say some BS that has nothing to do with the facts. It's all just to portray evil Trump. And for the person that doesn't know any better, it works. That's the problem. And I don't know if they gave her the questions in advance. There's evil people. I don't trust any of the media. Somebody could have gotten a hold of those questions and got them out to her. And of course, not Trump. Trump wouldn't have had them. Everybody's always, lifting up Democrats and saving the Democrats, helping Democrats. Kamala Harris is fake. That's damn sure fake. She's had 3.5 years to prove that she wants what's best for the economy and inflation, gas prices, oil, wars, keeping wars at bay. She hasn't been able to do anything. Why all of a sudden now we're going to assume the next 4 years she's got this? Yeah, you got this. 4 years. You got it, man. You're going to end all this bullshit that you started. You helped create this mess. You have yet to fix any of it, but we're going to give you 4 more years to try and make it right. Or are we just going to bring Donald Trump back, the guy that had it all figured out, to begin with? Why don't we just bring that guy back? That's the right thing to do. And if it doesn't work out, we're all fucked. Even these Democrats, these far left liberals that are so clueless, who knows? They got millions in the bank. They don't give a shit who the president is because they're already taken care of. They don't give a fuck if everybody else middle class, lower class, suffer. Let them suffer. We already got all our money. We don't care. We just hate Trump. We just hate Trump, so we need Kamala Harris. That's basically what's going on. Yeah, her values haven't changed, but she doesn't really have any power. She's weak because she freaking changes with the wind blows and she changes, man. So she's weak on policy. You don't really know what she's about. You don't know what the hell she's going to do because she's so weak. She's so fake.
We're back with tonight's debate between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump.
When it ends in just a few minutes, join us for an analysis.
Such a joke, people.
Break down how it could shake up the
And just so y'all know, if I hadn't been live, this is such bullshit, I would have cut it off already. Nobody's going to win. This doesn't move the needle at all. Okay? Trump's not going to gain any more support. She's not going to gain any more support. It's back to neutral. They're fighting it out over the next few weeks, okay? This was pointless. This was stupid.
Into this conflict, Mr. President, it has been the position of the Biden administration that we must defend Ukraine from Russia, from Vladimir Putin, to defend their sovereignty, their democracy, that it's in America's best interest to do so, arguing that if Putin wins, he may be emboldened to move even further into other countries. You have said you would solve this war in 24 hours. You said so just before the break tonight. How exactly would you do that? And I want to ask you a very simple question tonight. Do you want Ukraine to win this war?
I want the war to stop. I want to save lives that are being people being killed by the millions. It's the millions. It's so much worse than the numbers that you're getting, which are fake numbers. Look, we're in for 250 billion or more because they don't ask Europe, which is a much bigger beneficiary to getting this thing done than we are. They're in for $150 billion less because Biden and you don't have the courage to ask Europe like I did with NATO. They paid billions and billions, hundreds of billions of dollars when I said, either you pay up or we're not going to protect you anymore. So that's maybe one of the reasons they don't like me as much as they like weak people. But you take a look at what's happening. We're in for 250 to 275 billion. They're into 100 to 150. They should be forced to equalize. With that being said, I want to get the war settled. I know Zelensky very well, and I know Putin very well. I have a good relationship, and they respect, your president, okay? They respect me. They don't respect Biden. How would you respect him? Why? For what reason? He hasn't even made a phone call in 2 years to Putin, hasn't spoken to anybody. They don't even try and get it. That is a war that's dying to be settled. I will get it settled before I even become president. If I win, when I'm president-elect, and what I'll do is I'll speak to one, I'll speak to the other, I'll get them together. That war would have never happened. And in fact, when I saw Putin after I left, unfortunately left because our country has gone to hell. But after I left, when I saw him building up soldiers, he did it after I left, I said, oh, he must be negotiating. It must be a good, strong point of negotiation. Well, it wasn't, because Biden had no idea how to talk to him. He had no idea how to stop it. And now you have millions of people dead, and it's only getting worse, and it could lead to World War III. Don't kid yourself, David. We're playing with World War III, and we have a president that we don't even know if he's... Where is our president? We don't even know if he's a president.
And just to clarify
They
here,
threw him out of a campaign like a dog. We don't even know. Is he our president? But we have a president,
Mr. President,
that doesn't know he's alive.
your time is up. Just to clarify in the question, do you believe it's in the U.S. best interest for Ukraine to win this war, yes or no?
I think it's the U.S. best interest to get this war finished and just get it done.
All right.
Negotiate a deal, because we have to stop all of these human lives from being destroyed.
I want to take this to Vice President Harris. I want to get your thoughts on support for Ukraine in this moment, but also as Commander-in-Chief, if elected, how would you deal with Vladimir Putin, and would it be any different from what we're seeing from President Biden?
Really?
Well, first of all, it's important to remind the former president, you're not running against Joe Biden, you're running against me. I believe the reason that
thought she
Donald
was
Trump
Obama
says
there
that
for a
this
minute.
war
Did you
would
hear the
be over
Obama?
within 24 hours is because he would just give it up.
Fake!
And that's not who we are as Americans. Let's understand what happened here. I actually met with Zelensky a few days before Russia invaded, tried through force to change territorial boundaries, to defy one of the most important international rules and norms, which is
You're
the
weak and
importance of sovereignty and
uneducated, therefore it didn't
territorial integrity. And I met with President Zelensky. I shared with him American intelligence about how he could defend himself. Days later, I went to NATO's eastern flank, to Poland and Romania. And through the work that I and others did, we brought 50 countries together to support Ukraine in its righteous defense.
You didn't stop the war.
And because of our support, because of the air defense, the ammunition, the artillery,
Because all the money that we're out as a country, all that money, we just gave them money for the war. That was our solution.
Free country. If Donald Trump were president, Putin would be sitting in Kyiv right now. And understand what that would mean, because Putin's agenda is not just about Ukraine.
Pitiful.
Understand why the European allies and
so
our
boring.
NATO allies are so thankful that you are no longer president, and that we understand the importance of the greatest military alliance the world has ever known, which is NATO, and what we have done to preserve the ability of Zelensky and the Ukrainians.
What do you guys think? Do we have a winner here? Do we have a loser here? Are we neutral?
Sitting in Kyiv with his eyes on
Are you
the
as bored
rest
as
of
I
Europe,
am? Because this
starting
is
with
pointless.
Poland. And why don't you tell the 800,000 Polish Americans right here in Pennsylvania how quickly you would give up for the sake of favor and what you think is a friendship with what is known to be a dictator who would eat you for lunch.
Vice President Harris, thank you. We've heard from both of you on Ukraine tonight, Afghanistan.
No way, rebuttal. No
I
way.
to respond to something you said earlier, and
Oh, come on.
I'll give you a minute here.
Fight.
Putin would be sitting in Moscow, and he wouldn't have lost 300,000 men and women, but he would have been sitting in Moscow, quiet please, he would have been sitting in Moscow much happier than he is right now. But eventually, you know, he's got a thing that other people don't have. He's got nuclear weapons. They don't ever talk about that. He's got nuclear weapons. Nobody ever thinks about that. And eventually, maybe he'll use them, and maybe he hasn't been that threatening, but he does have that. Something we don't even like to talk about. Nobody likes to talk about.
Nail it home, Trump.
Just
Come
so you
on.
understand, they sent her to negotiate peace before this war started.
And she
3
failed.
days later, he went in and he started the war because everything they said was weak and stupid. They said the wrong things. That war should have never started. She was the emissary. They sent her in to negotiate with Zelensky and Putin. And she did. And the war started 3 days later. And that's the
I
kind of
agree.
talent
Trump's
we
not
have
winning
with
the
her.
debate.
She's worse than Biden, in my opinion. I
Not
think he's the
necessarily
worst president
losing the
in history of our
debate.
country.
We don't have a
She
clear
goes
winner,
down as the
though.
worst vice president in the
No
history
clear
of our
winner.
country. But let me tell you something. She is a horrible negotiator. They sent her in to negotiate as soon as they left. Putin did the invasion.
President Trump, thank you. You did bring up something. You said she went to negotiate with Vladimir Putin. Vice President Harris, have you ever met Vladimir Putin? Can you clarify tonight?
Yet again, I said at the beginning of this debate, you're going to hear a bunch of lies coming from this fella. And that is another one. When I went to meet with President Zelensky, I've now met with him over 5 times. The reality is it has been about standing as America always should, as a leader upholding international rules and norms, as a leader who shows strength, understanding that the alliances we have around the world are dependent on our ability to look out for our friends and not favor our enemies because you adore strongmen instead of caring about democracy. And that is very much what is at stake here. The President of the United States is Commander-in-Chief. And the American people have a right to rely on a president who understands the significance of America's role and responsibility in terms of ensuring that there is stability and ensuring we stand up for our principles and not sell them for the benefit of
She said democracy.
flattery.
You gotta love
We
it.
talked about Ukraine.
Nobody even
and Vladimir
voted for her
Putin. I
as
do want to talk about Afghanistan. It came
their
up in
candidate.
the first hour of this debate. I want to move on to Afghanistan.
Goldberg said Trump did the most amazing thing I've ever seen. He got these countries, the 28 countries at the time, to pay up. He said, I've never seen, he's the head of NATO. He said, I've never seen. For years, we were paying almost all of NATO. We were being ripped off by European nations, both on trade and on NATO. I got them to pay up by saying, one of the statements you made before, if you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. Otherwise, we would have never gotten it. He said it was one of the most incredible jobs that he's ever seen done.
Thank you. I want to turn to Afghanistan. It came up in the first hour of the debate, and we witnessed.
He can knock her out right here, guys. This can be it right here.
In the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Afghanistan. Come on.
Do you believe you bear any responsibility in the way that withdrawal played out?
Well, I will tell you, I agreed with President Biden's decision to pull out of Afghanistan. 4 presidents said they would, and Joe Biden did. And as a result, America's taxpayers are not paying the $300 million a day we were paying for that endless war. And as of today,
You're just
there
paying
is
for
not
2 other
one
wars
member
instead.
of the
No big
United
deal.
States military who is in active
That they
duty
started. 2
in a
other wars they
combat zone
started
in any war zone around the world. The
and
first time in
fumbled
this century.
Afghanistan.
But let's understand how we got to where we are. Donald Trump, when he was president, negotiated one of the weakest deals you can imagine. He calls himself a deal maker. Even his national security advisor said it was a weak, terrible deal. And here's how it went down. He bypassed the Afghan government. He negotiated directly with a terrorist organization called the Taliban. The negotiation involved the Taliban getting 5,000 Taliban terrorists released. And get this, get this. And the president at the time invited the Taliban to Camp David, a place of
Biden relied on the
strong
Taliban to
significance
get
for
him
us
out
as
of
a-
Afghanistan.
where we
Are you kidding me
honor
right now?
The importance of American diplomacy, where we
What?
invite and receive respected world leaders. And this former president, as president, invited them to Camp David because he does not, again, appreciate the role and responsibility
Yeah, I saw
of
that,
the
man.
President of the United States to be Commander-in-Chief with a
He's
level of
he's letting her get away with
and
a
this goes
lot.
back
He's
to
soft
the point
hitting
of
her.
how he
He's
has
not knocking her
consistently
out.
disparaged and demeaned members
And
of
she's
our
talking a
military,
bunch of gibberish
fallen soldiers,
bullshit.
and the work that we must
And he's
do
letting
to
her.
uphold the strength
He's letting her.
and the respect of the United States of America around the world.
Vice President Harris, thank you.
There could be some pinpricks here, and he's not getting them.
Began the negotiations
Yeah, thank
with the
you.
Taliban.
So, if you take a look at that period of time, the Taliban was killing our soldiers, a lot of them, with snipers. And I got involved with the Taliban because the Taliban was doing the killing. That's the fighting force within Afghanistan. They don't bother doing that because, you know, they deal with the wrong people all the time. But I got involved. And Abdul is the head of the Taliban. He is still the head of the Taliban. And I told Abdul, don't do it anymore. You do it anymore, you're going to have problems. And he said, why do you send me a picture of my house? I said, you're going to have to figure that out, Abdul. And for 18 months, we had nobody killed. We did have an agreement negotiated by Mike Pompeo. It was a very good agreement. The reason it was good, it was we were getting out. We would have been out faster than them, but we wouldn't have lost the soldiers. We wouldn't have left many Americans behind, and we wouldn't have left $85 billion worth of brand new, beautiful military equipment behind. And just to finish, they blew it. The agreement said you have to do this, and they didn't do it. They didn't do it. The agreement was terminated by us because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. And these people did the worst withdrawal, and in my opinion, the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And by the way, that's why Russia attacked Ukraine, because they saw how incompetent she and her boss.
There finally was a strong blow. That was a big punch right there.
Mr. President, you recently said of Vice
Finally got one in.
I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. I want to ask a bigger picture question here tonight. Why do you believe it's appropriate to weigh in on the racial identity of your opponent?
I don't, and I don't care. I don't care what she is.
Interesting, because she was given the VP pick off of racial identity politics. They just pretend like that didn't exist. Oh, black female. Joe Biden's going after a black female. Why? That's not racial? That's not racist?
I'll say that. And then
it's not identity politics?
And that's okay. Either one was okay with me.
It's exactly how she got her VP pick. I hate to say it. Y'all know it's true.
I think it's, I mean, honestly, I think it's a tragedy that we have someone who wants to be president.
She got thrown out of the first debate, guys. She didn't even make it to the first primary in the election.
Attempted to use race to divide.
She had no support. And then all of a sudden she's VP pick. You guys figure it out. Why was that?
We don't want this kind
now all of a sudden she's president. Joe Biden's out. What the hell's going on?
How Donald Trump started. He was land. He owned buildings, and he was investigated because he refused to rent property to black families. Let's remember, this is the same individual who took out a full-page ad in the New York Times calling for the execution of 5 young Black and Latino boys who were innocent, the Central Park 5, took out a full-page ad calling for their execution. This is the same individual who spread birther lies about the first black president of the United States. And I think the American people want better than that, want better than this, want someone who understands, as I do, I travel our country. We see in each other a friend. We see in each other a neighbor. We don't want a leader who is constantly trying to have Americans point their fingers at each other. I meet with people all the time who tell me, can we please just have discourse about how we're going to invest in the aspirations and the ambitions and the dreams of the American people? Knowing that regardless of people's color or the language their grandmother speaks, we all have the same dreams and
God, this is just making me sick. I don't even want to hear her talk. I don't even want to hear that nonsense. Donald Trump's not winning. She's not winning. This really is not moving the needle whatsoever. They could have stayed home. There's no new votes coming in on either side. Starting tomorrow, this is back to neutral. Trump's going to just have to gain ground. He's going to have to win Pennsylvania. If he wins Pennsylvania, we win the election. It's that simple. Trump's just got to go after Pennsylvania. Screw this nonsense. She's full of shit. Trump just talks a lot about himself. He talks in circles. He repeats himself, but he doesn't nail anything home. His ideas don't actually close. I think he's just a little weaker tonight. I don't know what's going on, but he's definitely not winning. If anybody like on Fox or whatever says, yeah, Trump won this, they're full of shit. All right. This is one of the first ones I've watched from beginning to end, which I never fucking watch them all this all the way through because they're so boring and they're such bullshit. And I'm probably going to shut this one off now. I'm going to close this live because this was a waste of time. This was neither here nor there. I don't know if you guys think somebody won this. You can go ahead and comment right now if you guys think there's an actual winner to this debate. But I kind of figured it would be a letdown. I figured she'd come out with a lot of BS. Her scripted answers, maybe it would look like she was given the questions in advance and Trump would be caught off guard, but at least Trump held his composure most of the time. I just can't stand to see her get away with so much bullshit. I can't stand to hear her talk. I hate hearing her voice. 4 years of that, y'all. Oh my God. Four years of that, if she were to win, with skyrocketing gas prices, grocery prices going back up, stock market's not going to make anything for any of us. It's just going to be another trickle market. You already know Donald Trump has your back with crypto. She's not going to have your back. Taxes are absolutely going to go up. So you're just going to be getting hit with more money if she wins. You're just going to get hit with it. At least there's some light at the end of the tunnel with Trump, with saving some freaking money. And the country's saving money with hopefully no more wars breaking out. Ending a war or two. Finishing this Israel battle, you know? It all has to end. And she's had 3.5 years to do it. And she hasn't done it. So. And then at the end of the day, we need DJT to make us some money. So. I got a feeling right now it's back down into what? 17s? Let me look. Where are we at with DJT? 1812. So it did dip into the 17s. So you're seeing how the market's responding to the debate. Market's not necessarily. The low was 1721. Holy shit. I did not see that. I would have bought some more had I seen that. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Pretty boring debate. And Donald Trump, once again, is left to fight it out for Pennsylvania. All right, guys, y'all have a good night. That is it. I wish there was more excitement to this. I don't even want to finish watching it. Trump's going to say the same old stuff. She's going to throw the same old lies, fake, and nobody's going to win here at the end of the night. So this was a waste of time for the debate itself. I thought we were going to have that knockout punch that we would have had with Trump versus Biden, but you ain't got it here. He was a little too soft. Love you, dudes. It was great being live again. I will see you in the Discord if you're part of our Discord. Otherwise, I'll see you back on YouTube soon. Love you guys. Shaboom. Peace, y'all. Have a great night.